All right, guys, we're going to start the meeting of the ARB. It is Tuesday, July 19th, 7:04 p.m. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. I am Elizabeth Geiger. I am the chairman of the Architectural Review Board. I'm going to introduce the members we have tonight. We have David Riley here. We have Hervé, our staff member, Alex Lobotensky, Marion Castell, also a town historian, Anya Janis, Leslie Macaulay. She's our resident architectural landscapist, and is that a word, landscapist? Landscape architect, there we go. Cheryl Green, Rebecca Morrison, and our vice chair, David Humphrey. We like to keep these meetings moving quickly. It's a big agenda. We've seen your presentations. Come up here, give us a quick review, and then let us go into the dialogue so we can save you guys time, save us time. Starting off, we have an old project from last time, old business, ARB number 24, Gregory's Coffee. So you guys are on record. Oh, it's like on cue it went. Can you guys again state your name for the record and your relationship to the project, and then let's jump right in. You guys don't even need to do a recap. Just tell us where we are with stuff, you know.
Oh, okay. So my name is Yao Bo. I'm the architect at Gregory Zanfortis. He's the owner.
Can you spell those names for me, please?
Yao, Y-A-O, G-U-O. Gregory Zanfortis. Z-A.
Z-A-M-F-O-T-I-S.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So Gregory's Coffee is again the jewel, the jewel building at Federal Realty, 140 Heights Road. Right, it will be the anchor building there, and we are debating again what the glass should possibly be at the rear of the building. Yeah, no, please.
So,
before you start in this, why don't you guys give us one thought as to why you're not presenting any wood back there? Because this was a discussion, and I want to make sure we close out that part about why we're not looking at wood paneling here, why we're only considering glass.
the building was already built, and Federal is just not going to rebuild the entire structure, basically. So
The glass is in place already.
Has everyone been over there and seen what that looks like, by the way, with the glass in place? It's all, there's mullions, it's all, the whole window set's put in.
I have photos, you guys, if you need them. I brought current photos. Except the mullions are the wrong color right now. They're supposed to be dark gray.
Okay. All right, guys.
Okay, we're here to recap and give some samples. Shall we just continue?
Sure. Yep.
Samples.
So we had originally proposed a frosted glass, and we applied it two ways, one on the front and one on the back, just to see the difference there. And remember, we would have white wall right behind this, blocking anything beyond it, because this would be protecting the back room and the restroom. And then the committee asked to see an option of mirroring. So similarly, we took a mirroring vinyl, applied on the front and as well as on the back of that glass, just to show it's like a subtle difference, I guess, about how it would read.
If you see,
Yeah.
you can see better.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
Now, is that the film applied on the front?
Yeah, this is packed
That's
in
the
the front,
front,
and this is from the back.
So it's just gonna be, you see.
Is that how close the wall is going to be approximately?
Yeah.
It's going to be right up.
Yeah.
Is there any maintenance issue when you put the vinyl on the exterior of the glass?
They would be going basically end to end. So we haven't seen that in the past with anything we've done, but if anything, it is something that is easy to apply on and off if you needed to. Obviously, our preference would probably be to go on the inside, just for your point. There's less maintenance at that point, but then if something were to go wrong for whatever reason, because of sun or something, it's harder to correct it. If it's on the
That
inside.
brings the point of the construction of the wall inside, which is something we talked about. There's a couple of questions. Is the wall being so close is one thing. If you have, what is happening at the top of the wall? Is there a space where bugs can get in and things can fall in and just accumulate between the glass and the wall and never be clean? Or is there, what does this section look like between the window and the wall in the back?
We want to build it right next to the glass, and we'll seal it off. So
It's
while-
sealed off.
Would it go to the underside of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ceiling
Yeah.
inside?
And how's the condensation, heat exchange, all of that going to happen in that space between the glass and the wall in the back? I mean, are you gonna really seal vacuum like really, really tight so that there's never gonna be, you know, these beautiful
Yeah.
droplets of water? I had one, the reason I say that is I had frosted on my house in Maryland, which is a lot more humid climate, but obviously today we can tell it's not exactly really dry around here. So the humidity and the condensation, by just the virtue of change in exposure to sun, created condensation behind the glass, and it was impossible to get to it. So what's your plan, your strategy for that? I mean,
Those are insulated glass, so I'm assuming that wouldn't have a problem.
anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a balance between the temperature of the air in between the window and that wall. If you seal it off completely, it's not gonna be really conditioned, but should it be to maintain
Sorry about that.
the same temperature as the rest of the inside of the space? I don't know, I think it's certainly something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to clog it up, if you will, for lack of a better, it's not an architectural term, but it's just a way, to your point, it's gonna trap air, and even though the glass is insulated, there's still transmission, right?
There's
Yeah.
convection as well. The cold air comes down and.
So, I mean, that's really more of a maintenance issue, but it does have an impact on the appearance of the glass.
I got an idea, or it was a thought, like, you know, I went over there, I'm there every day, and I'm like, you know, I look at this picture, I sit and stare at this building. You know? It inspires me and breaks my soul when I think about what's happening here. Because, you know, you're gonna have these glass windows, right, and they're gonna reflect the changing weather of the day, right? So throughout the day, these windows are gonna pick up different elements and color and feel, and then you're gonna have this one solid panel, right, next to it that's gonna be not changing in a way, right? It's gonna be all in the white, so no matter what time of day, what color or temperature, it's gonna be white. And just for proposing an idea, did you guys ever considered if that wall is being built behind there, and if maybe there's a sufficient enough gap to do what you guys need to do, like, you know, 1 inch to 6 inches, of even mirroring that back wall, so the mirror isn't the glass itself, but the mirror is the wall, and so then you're seeing the glass through, and it's picking up more. It's not such a break from.
So you're looking at a mirror through the.
So you're looking at a mirror, but you don't really know it. Yeah, you're looking through glass, and you think you're looking, and then yeah.
It's an interesting idea.
I don't know, that might not work, might be a disaster. I know you guys talked about mirror being also.
What about a jewel box inside of a jewel box? Like if it's a jewel box, the building, what if this back area is a jewel box, a secondary lit within?
I don't know if I show window.
So it becomes, you almost light the white wall that you have to conceal the bathroom and
And it glows.
and it glows.
Yeah.
It's a jewel box within a
You'll
jewel
see that
box.
at night, you're not necessarily gonna see it during the day.
Right.
Although I don't think it's gonna feel as opaque during the day either.
Just to contrast, so
Yeah.
I think somebody asked for the mirror, I
Yeah.
mean, this completely blocks anything behind,
Yeah.
so answer
Yep.
to the maintenance issue of seeing things behind, in particular if it was applied from the outside, if anything were to happen to the vinyl. we could
So I was
replace
looking at
the
the other one, is that
This
sort
is
of
applied-
antiqued?
It may have, I mean, he did this relatively quickly, but it's just the way it
Could
applied
have
to
been
this.
a
Yeah.
It does have a vintage you, too, but I don't know if that was.
That's not the
You know,
intent.
from an angle, I think it was antiqued, and I thought that was interesting. and
Yeah,
that-
it is, you can see it.
They do have that
It's a nice
vinyl,
touch.
but I mean,
I think. What bothers me is it's all white like this, somehow or other, if you could do, I don't know. but you could
this
put-
is white or the, I mean.
No,
the-
I mean the backing, is just the whole windows on each floor is just white. And would there be something more interesting like you were talking about?
Behind
Or
it.
is there a way we could get color behind it somehow?
Well, I would say if you're mirroring with this,
You're not-
it's reflecting everything.
Then
So
you're-
you are seeing not, you
Then
wouldn't really
that's it,
see
you're not seeing
white,
white,
you're seeing
which-
all like the
That
other colors
speaks for
that
the
you're,
mirror
Yes.
so.
aspect, not to
I
see the
actually think
white.
this is a good exercise to have outside, in front of a window, so you can kind of see, you know, how windows naturally reflect, you know, what's going around them. To that end, I think, I do like the interior, either, you know, what we land up choosing, but, the interior application, just so it looks more seamless with the other windows.
You know, I'm new to this because I wasn't here last time, but you know, my background's in retail. Would you ever consider, I don't know what is behind it, but it sounds like it's back of house.
Yeah, it's back of house, yeah.
And, you know, one option would be just to create more like a display window, right? Like have it, you know, furred out so that it actually, and then you could change, you know, depending, I don't know exactly, if it's back of house, it's much more easy, but like if you could just change the display that's in there seasonally, then that would, you know, create like a furred out box that you can
It's
then.
a lot of glass.
What?
It's a big chunk of glass.
Yeah, it's a big chunk, but if you created an actual display box, you know, even if it was.
Also, I'm just gonna kind of throw in, just because of being on this project.
Julie, will you
they
come up,
have-
if you
yeah,
talk,
sure,
can you go
sure,
introduce
sure,
yourself,
sure.
thank you so much.
I'm also afraid of the mirroring aspect and who's on the street and how the light's gonna reflect.
We
on
talked
them.
about that last time, like some headlights.
Yeah, it just
against
seems
it,
like
yeah.
it would be actually fairly dangerous.
These guys, Julie Brock from DMA. They have such limited space. I think we've all kind of bantered that even internally with us, like having display cases. They have such limited working space in this building that making any sort of access panels or not having usable or coming in with displays is just sucking up so much of their leasable area, really. So that, we've kind of thought that one through a little bit too. Love the idea, but it's just so hard to execute given their parameters. It's pretty small. It's pretty small.
So, but I'm okay, no one cares about my idea, but no one thinks the idea of natural glass with a mirrored inside, so you're still feeling the environment, like even, sometimes natural glass, it's not like a direct mirror on the outer of the, it's like you still get like the,
Because you'll have a little bit of a depth.
you have a depth to it, and you'll see like sometimes like your lights will
And you'll
reflect.
see a
light.
reflection, yeah, the light, the shadow will be
It's almost like you should put a
And
clear
you have
piece
to worry
of
about
it.
the tree.
Yeah.
I did have a question, and I wish Gregory to be successful for the next 100 years in that location, but if they were not and there was another tenant,
Yep.
the glass will stay, they would have to, they could decide that this is not the back of the house because it's a great location for retail and the, you know, in the more pedestrian area.
Correct.
So to say, keep the window just glazed and have a treatment on that utility wall, I'm gonna call it that, or that convenience wall that's in the back, makes it more flexible and adaptable and a lot less work than having to remove all this peeled on or, you know,
I mean, this
applied
comes off
on.
very easily. They use these like hand.
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
Which is,
pieces
by the
of-
way,
I think
why
a
you should
future
really
tenant
do
would
it
have
on the
to deal with
interior,
that one way or
because
the
the
other.
exterior doesn't last very, very well with weather,
Yeah.
with frost and stuff in the corner, so you better put the frosting or whatever.
I would rather have it on the interior. It
But
can go, but it's not
But to that
successful.
point, is the glass is part of the window overall treatment, then keep the window as is and just do whatever is behind. That was just flexibility on the retail.
So like the mirror,
So like
so
either
basically
mirror or-
Liz's, yeah. I don't mind that. That's actually kind of an interesting,
I think it should be behind the glass as
sort
well.
of, yeah.
And the mirror shouldn't be
The
something you
mirror's
can
gonna
touch.
reflect
Yeah.
inside
Yeah, you're gonna
of
see the-
window molding.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna be seeing like double glass.
Oh, you'll be seeing that, I see what you're saying.
Just trying to see if I can, like if you kind of, yeah,
It
like if you
wouldn't
put
be a
that
very
white
good mirror,
frame
but that's all right.
in front of the mirror.
Yeah, you'll have a little bit more depth than
Yeah,
that,
you
right?
need- you need
You're
to
gonna
be
have
able
this
to-
huge, yeah.
You need to be able to.
Well, yeah, because
Also, if it is insulated glass, then you do apply the
That's an
mirrors to the
interesting
inside.
But you also
I
have the dimension of
mean,
the,
there is a certain amount of depth if you're gonna get there anyway.
Yeah.
It's like 3/4 inch or.
the mirror.
Exactly. And I do kind of, I agree. You guys need to work with your engineers and have the space conditions, otherwise it's gonna be a hot mess.
Yeah,
So
no, it's a really,
you're gonna have to get some
We
sort
could
of
pull the
engineering.
wall back an inch or 2 inch, so,
Yeah, I think just some circulation, just for
Yeah.
dehumidification.
and also
Agreed.
give it a little bit depth. So we're okay with that.
Yeah, yeah.
it won't,
But I do, I like the step back.
Yeah, I mean, David's point, it's not, I mean, none of these are perfect, you're choosing to be the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
So like, that's a good, like, I'm just worried about the break of seeing, like, when you go from this beautiful glass building, and every day, we're gonna drive by this, on this, like, this exemplary building in Darien to show the quality of our building. That's what, right, this is this jewel box of this new development, and you're gonna have this thing that's a glass, and it's like, I don't know, frosted or mirror glass, I don't know if that, I don't know. That's why I keep pushing away from this a little bit more.
I'm not a fan of mirror glass, but I also just was talking to Dave, I mean, it's not the ideal thing, but it's what would happen in a residential thing. I mean, why can't they just put, you know, a really simple
Oh, shades?
shade? You know, I mean, it
You're-
doesn't.
you're
Well,
gonna
one of
s-
them is a
You're gonna
western.
see, yeah, you're
They'd
gonna see,
still have
at
a
night,
wall.
you're gonna have a
You
lot
could
of,
actually
Reflection.
have an
well,
opaque
not
surface
reflection, but
with
shadows,
shade.
right? Even if it's a blackout shade, you're still gonna have the shadows of equipment and people and, you know, movement, and I think that's,
I think you'd have to combine a shade with the wall behind. I think you're kind of dealing with the same sort of assembly.
it's essentially what we're trying to do is dress up a wall.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you just, essentially, it would be fabric instead of frosted or mirror.
Yeah.
You know, just, and again, there's maintenance and cost and, you know, more so possibly than condensation
Definitely.
over time.
Definitely more so from a maintenance standpoint.
And lots of beautiful plaster with very thin little motif, you know, like if you ever gone to Finn in New York City, they have an entire wall with about like a 1/4 inch with variation on waves and things just applied to the surface, and having something to see through could be kind of interesting. I don't know. I think that wall is really should have a treatment.
Treating the wall
Treating the
inside.
wall.
So it's just, instead of a white plaster wall.
Yeah, just kind of
Yeah.
something to look at without
And
spending
the
too much
fabric
money.
behind it somehow.
Right.
I would
That's-
stay away from
No,
fabric.
okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's too
it
much
gets
dust
into-
and it's a maintenance
True.
issue.
And also, if you want to change it out in the future, how accessible is it? You know, there's,
When you have a curtain,
Something
you
past
wash it.
Could you do like a Venetian finish,
Right.
a paint finish on that and dress it up that way?
On the glass?
How do you,
On the
not on
wall.
the glass, just
No,
on the wall.
Oh, on the
Just on the
wall.
wall. How do you?
Get into
Paint
that
it.
spot to do that.
You painted it.
Right, you would
Yeah, I
have
think
to.
you
I don't
do
know.
it and then you install it,
It would have to
right?
be pre-done.
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
install.
install it.
And then
But you know,
it's-
if we are going with a frosted, something's gonna have to be, it can't be white anyway, it's gonna be painted something,
Yeah.
and that's gonna have to be, you know, done beforehand, and so I think,
So, kind of stepping back and maybe now putting a graphic on the wall. So now we're concentrating on the wall. And
I don't, are we?
I don't know.
Are you guys, I wanted, before we get there, like, where are you guys voting? If it's frosted or mirror, do we have a preference on that either way?
I prefer the mirror.
For the mirror, okay.
I think the frosted is too solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I think the mirror gives it energy.
Yeah.
Like of
Yes.
things moving.
and it doesn't have to be, it can also be a tinted mirror, like this is, it can be a little bit darker, they come in different shades, you can choose like by gradient up to 100%, so you can do like a 30% tinted. So it'll just be a little bit darker, which is a little bit probably more what people are used to seeing, so it won't be quite so like clear or like.
Vibrant, yeah.
Vibrant,
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, that's the cladding of the building itself is like a charcoal gray. So maybe we can get a sample of that, and it's something that may kind of just wash into that a bit
Yeah.
if we go that direction.
And then if you go with the tinted mirror, you also don't have to worry about the wall.
Right, right,
As
right.
opposed to frosted glass, you have to worry about the wall.
Well, I mock that up to make sure that depending on how opaque you go, that you actually can't see through it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with the mirror, you have a little bit more of a design aesthetic to play with, and knowing the charcoal wall, you could find something that's got
Yeah.
a little bit to it that might blend with that, and I think, again, in real life, seeing this, my feeling of it was that the mirrored glass would blend better with the clear glass when you actually see it in the daylight, because clear glass has some reflection to it if you're not staring at it straight on.
I think the slight tint, though, I think would maybe be a little more in keeping if it went that way.
Let's maybe try and match something closer to the actual gray finish of the building. And then, I know you guys don't meet in August, right?
No.
I mean, since the glass is up,
I was just gonna say,
12 by 12 sections on the panes and
Yeah.
say.
if we get it up,
clear the-
can
Yeah.
I send an email over and say, come on over?
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
And we do it just sort of off.
Chalkboard next to it.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
We'll do it.
Have a vote.
Just touching.
Okay.
That's what
Chalkboard
Habitat
goes
for
well.
Humanity does.
And Julie, you'll have 4
A table of
options.
copies. and-
Which 4 do you wanna see?
Oh, I thought you said you'll have 4 options up on the window.
No, no, no,
Just
no.
4 squares to get an idea of the greater.
That's fine, yeah.
I'm asking you.
I can, however, let me kind of go out, I may do one band of the windows, which will be 4 or 6, possibly little mullion panes. I
Okay.
can't remember how those are broken up. So,
Liz
She's
has
got
it.
the picture.
Yeah, is the window set above not being treated, it's just the lower half of windows, right? The 3 above the doors aren't above the,
Way up,
Oh,
try it some.
well,
not the top,
I
these 3.
think we will do the whole thing.
You're gonna do the whole thing?
Yeah, so it's,
Okay.
so it looks,
Okay.
uniform.
yeah.
I'm still on record, I still think this is gonna look really weird when we drive through there. And I'm really, really up for more treating the thing behind it and seeing through natural glass. I'm not getting support on that, but we'll see when the sample comes in, but I'm worried about the break of going past this.
Can I
And us
take
kicking
a
ourselves
suggestion?
for the
Can
next
you
10
mock
years.
it up so that it's behind the glass?
Yeah.
But also get some foam core, put it on some foam core and mock it up so it sits back 4 inches from the glass so we can see both scenarios. To
Or whatever
Liz's-
Yeah.
distance the wall, the intended wall.
That's correct.
Done,
Yeah, I
Yes.
think so.
Yes.
And that way we'll
Yeah.
have a
easy.
full
So-
size
I think we should.
Yeah.
mock-up.
Are we going with the?
Like a phone cord, like I'm not thinking, it wouldn't just be phone call, it'd be like, we're gonna do a mirror on the phone.
Yeah.
Mirror
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
match
Oh,
shape.
saying
of it.
2 options, the one that we're looking at right here where it's,
Yeah.
the vinyl is right on the backside of storefront glass.
Uh-huh.
And the other option is your scenario where the vinyl, the mirrored vinyl is applied to a fake wall
Got it, okay.
that is set back at the right distance behind the glass.
Which is
So we
the-
can look
what
at
is the
both
right
scenarios.
Done, yeah.
Which
Now,
would be the
the-
distance that they build the wall at.
Okay.
The question though on the mirror, I mean,
Finishes.
have a mirror that's presented and then a slight tint, like 10%, 20%? Like, how many samples do you think are appropriate in order to
That's
get
why
a
I thought
good?
we were gonna say 4.
I
Was it
can't,
4?
I don't, I'm gonna talk, let me talk to the film. I don't know how many mirror options there are, or like
Right.
color that are even
Okay.
viable ones. So I kinda we need to do a little research with the film guy. I'm gonna take all of these, but we'll do a mirror that's closer to the charcoal finish. I will do a mirror behind
Right.
and a white foam core behind.
Right, so the mirror.
Clear, yes,
The mirror sits on the foam core.
yes.
Foam core, yeah.
To me, ideally, it's not like a cling mirror, it would be a real quality mirror. You know, it would,
It'll be whatever.
I wouldn't think it'd be that, that's something that has to go on glass, like if you have a wall, you could actually put a real mirror on that entire wall, so it's like a good
Yes.
quality mirror, so you're looking through it, you've got a depth of that, so you're seeing mullions at Dave's point, but you're still seeing, like, you're still reacting to natural, looking through glass, and then seeing like reflections of what's going on outside,
It has
because,
a huge mirror back.
not yet, versus like an applied
I
mirror.
think it,
I don't think you're gonna, no.
yeah.
I don't think there's a huge difference if you got a vinyl that looks like a mirror and literally looks like a mirror.
Put it on a good,
and
like
mirror.
a MDF or something
Right.
like that, something that's super smooth, yeah, it's,
Yeah,
yeah, done
All right.
properly.
How large would take?
all right.
And the wall is.
We shall see, sample away for us. Email, I'll put you a letter, I'll get a letter and recap these samples, like what
On
we'd
top
like
of
to
this
see.
action.
It's about
Yeah,
8 by
we'll
8
do
by
this.
8.
We'll do
How
this.
big
We
is
can
that
do this.
wall?
So at least two,
Oh,
three,
the-
at least
the
3 types
copy
of
by
tinted
10 by
glass,
10,
like
right?
the, sorry, the
Yeah.
tinted on the actual inside application, at least maybe 3 of samples of that.
Well, I need to talk to the film guy, because
What they
I
have?
don't know,
Okay.
like, because this one, I think this mirror is too bright. I need something,
Yeah,
Yeah.
empty.
yes, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, let me see how many options are out there.
Fantastic.
Okay.
And then we'll recap in a letter, but then when you guys get up there, we can come by over like,
Yeah.
a few weeks in August or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna take me a little bit probably to do this.
all the better.
Okay.
We're quiet here in August. Okay, thank you
Okay.
guys.
Thank you.
We're excited.
We have a combination here of new business and old businesses. M&T Bank, we saw them last month at, we saw M&T Bank at 72 Edgerton Street, and now also seeing at 25 Old Kings Highway. Guys, can you introduce yourselves for the record?
Good evening, folks. My name is Mike McCune. I'm a vice president of M&T Bank. My business address is 45 Eisenhower, Paramus, New Jersey.
Can you spell your last name, Mike?
MC, capital K, E-O-N.
Great.
And I'm Tracy Becker from Sign Pro. I'm the applicant. And the company address is 60 Westfield Drive in Plantsville.
So quick, let's go back to old business to like, so
Sure.
you were gonna bring in samples for us to show that kind of that mid-century, I said like old bank building on Edgerton. I can't describe it. What was that?
Oh, yeah.
You remember the one that had, you know,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So we
24-hour banking over the door that we.
Right, we're getting rid of that.
Yeah, right.
So we talked about, originally we had an illuminated sign over the glass. We've
Right.
gone away from that plan. The very latest plan, fresh this afternoon, I'm hoping you have copies of, and if you don't, I
Can you
have.
You said you were gonna bring 12
I
copies.
did.
I
Perfect.
didn't get a
So,
chance to
no,
copy
that's
them.
totally fine.
It came at like
Perfect.
last minute.
So, if you wanna take one down and pass them around, I think there's 11 there, is that enough?
I have a 12 if they
Three,
need it.
four, nine.
You're good.
Yeah, okay.
You're good.
All right, so this plan, I have the big versions too, if anyone wants a big version. So now, again, we're removing the 24-hour banking sign completely. We are no longer doing a sign over the glass.
Yep,
We are concentrating on the 2 panels that are existing for People's United Bank.
yep.
So our plan now is a gray background panel with green illuminated channel letters.
Okay.
So this is the face to our green illuminated channel letter. Just the green would light up, and it does use a green LED as well. And the very back of the package shows you the LED information.
So in other words, you dropped that graphic color band that was on most of the application
Yes.
with the green and the yellow that was kind of framing
Right.
with color. It's more muted with just the lettering instead of.
Right, so it looks really a lot more like the old People's United Bank, and because that is such a relatively narrow area, we thought just the lettering would be best. So obviously I have to say, I'm not thrilled with this night rendering picture that we have in this package. It is brighter than this. That barely looks like it's even on, so I just wanted to let you know that. So, and we've gone with this plan because we spent a good portion of the morning talking about how we're gonna get a sign in there with their security lighting, and it's been there for a while. We're not really sure. We don't really want to get rid of the security lighting, so we thought this plan, just the plain background panel that leaves the security lighting in place and the lettering there.
Is there an option for the white?
Right, so ideally we'd like to have a white panel because they're,
It's more brand compliant.
right. He's the brand guy.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're showing a gray in this one because
You're
that's
saying
what's there.
instead of the light gray that you're showing here, you prefer a white?
We would prefer white.
Got it.
Yep.
And you did gray because?
Because the existing panel is gray and it's not quite as dark as the building gray.
Okay.
So we were just trying to keep it kind of muted. But I mean, white, obviously wouldn't show at night, but it would show during the day. We thought the white would be more brand compliant.
On page 4, the 2 areas that are under the word recommendation, R1 has like a little bit of dark gray coming down. Is that meant to be or not? Because it's not the same way on the next page. What
So,
kind of shadow?
I think that's just the shadow
Oh.
that is shown in the People's United Bank picture next to it. So it's the panel will go end to end.
Is the shadow of the lights?
I believe it is.
Oh, okay, very vertical sun. Okay.
Well, you
Yeah,
also see the
did-
shadow from the socket
From the
of the
People's
roof line as
United-
well.
Right,
Right.
yeah, okay, all right, so it's just shadow, okay. Just making sure.
So the next page actually shows it a little better where the roof
Yeah.
isn't right over it, so that color will go right to the edge. And then the other item that we talked about last month is, again, removing the 24-hour banking sign, adding the number 72 onto the door vinyl, and then just the standard M&T door vinyl. And I think that's it.
Are you guys trying to propose all these traffic signs, this stop sign and this crosswalking sign?
Yeah, so there are existing, we
Yes.
call those regulatory signs, so we're gonna be replacing, so this gray and with white is typically a People's United Bank coloring, so we would be replacing that with a more standard DOT sign.
Do we have to have this in there? Is that right? Because, I mean,
There is a crosswalk there, so,
It's a safety issue.
right, it's a DOT thing.
you're, okay, you're required to put them in?
I believe we are.
Sorry?
I was wondering if you're required to put them in. I mean, this is turning into a pedestrian zone, so
Right.
Right.
a little man walking on a yellow sign seemed obvious to me.
Right.
It seemed like overkill.
Right.
You're saying that's necessary?
That's likely to be the crosswalk outside of the drive-up lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an issue. Sometimes people get their, make their deposit, get their money, and then they focus on something else, and they're not paying attention actually to the people in the crosswalk. And safety is a primary
I
concern.
mean, we've got banks all
That's
over.
my bank, and I've actually experienced, I
Yeah.
haven't been run over, obviously, but people do tend to just kind of drive.
They're putting their money in their
It's
wallet.
a very
or
bright stop
something.
sign. Really, I think that's necessary, Dave Riley?
If
It's
it's,
aggressive.
well,
But it's
I think-
standard,
I think some
right?
sort of
You're going so
signage-
fast and you're pulling out!
I think some
recognized.
signage would be recommended, but, I'm not gonna, I don't know, I don't feel that judgy about,
Okay, all right.
about what I'm seeing.
Right, and honestly, it's DOT
Right.
kind of regulation, we buy them in bulk, so trust me, we have stacks and stacks of them. And then they, like I said, the LED information is in the very back. So the green LEDs fall into the modules per meter in that 4.9 section, so right in the center, so the coloring can go from 3,000 to 3,000 to 7,100 K. I believe we're aiming for 4,000.
Wait, sorry, which was?
It's at the very end of your packet, the last two pages talk about the Sloan LEDs that will be for the illuminated letters. And on that first page, actually, sorry, the color's down at the bottom.
So it's at the lower end of the allowable range, right?
Right, it's the lower end.
Okay,
Okay.
any questions, guys?
So you didn't mock it up with the white background that you prefer, you just mocked it up.
Correct. So Mike went and visited the site this afternoon in preparation for coming here, and he said, wow, that would look much better with white, and again, be more brand compliant.
I actually don't have an issue whether it's white or the gray. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be that huge a difference. It's still a bright.
I mean, it'll be nice and clean, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of the
Yeah.
point. They're really, M&T has really made a lot of changes at other banks, with landscaping and things like that. And it, I could show you lots of completion photos if I had my laptop. But, they're trying to really update the properties and make them look nice for grand unveiling.
Is the color of the wall a gray as well? The current color of the wall?
Yeah, the wall is kind of a wood siding and it's a darker gray.
So is your gray trying to match the color or trying to be slightly off or?
It is slightly off, so it isn't, I really think if we tried to match the color, that gray is very dark and there wouldn't be much contrast for the green letter.
Okay, I'm not suggesting, I'm just
Right.
bringing the point.
Yep, absolutely, understand. So that's the old one, I don't know if you guys wanna
Might be a good contrast.
see the
That's great.
letter
That's
close up.
perfect.
Well,
Okay, I mean, since I have it.
White.
So it's gonna try to look too matching.
I think the white's good, yeah, the white, yeah. I thought the white was good, yeah.
so
Move the white,
this-
please, yeah.
this would reflect black, I mean,
So the light actually is in the, so that's just the face of the letter,
Yeah,
so
so
the
it's
can
off.
of the letter is 3 inches deep.
mhm,
And the LEDs are along the back edge of that, so,
okay, cool.
yeah, so the light shines through, the green, the vinyl is translucent.
Okay, let's talk about your next location over
Okay.
at the Water Shopping Center.
Yep,
So you have a favorable report on that. I'll recap that in my letter to you, but that's favorable report
okay,
with your revised presentation here.
perfect, thank you very much. Okay, so Mike also visited this location as well today, so he has one or two changes from this package that we're presenting here. So for this location,
Which is 25 Old Kings Highway?
Yes.
Go to our shopping center.
yes.
Okay.
So replacing the illuminated freestanding sign with a similarly sized freestanding sign for M&T Bank. We are proposing this as their standard, which the entire face illuminates. But I know you don't usually love that. So if we just have to light the letters, we can do that without a problem. The green and yellow can become opaque, so only the lettering lights at night. So this is the problematic piece. So this current People's United Bank pin mount letter set, and you can kind of see it from the front of the building as well. It's really blocked by the trees. It's very difficult to see. So Mike is suggesting that we actually move that to the side of the building. So have these M&T letters on the side of the building as you're approaching the drive up.
Great idea.
Okay.
Love it.
And then changing this 24-hour banking to an M&T sign, which is more visible. And I really like the idea of having an illuminated sign here because this part of the building does sit very far back from the rest of the plaza, and it's very difficult to see. So again, this would be a typical, actually it's an aluminum background panel with white push-through letters, so just the lettering would light for this piece at night.
I'm sorry, where is that going?
So this is going right above the door where this 24-hour banking sign currently is.
So this is the third sign.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm gonna stop you there. I got a compromise here for you. You only get two signs here. You get one wall sign and one other sign. That's the regulations for this zone. So, I was gonna knock you guys down for the pole sign anyways. It's not something we've ever loved in this location. It doesn't fit Darien's environment. I don't think it's a great way to start. You guys seem very conscientious about your brand. I think going into this center, it's more quaint, it's more subtle. The pole sign does not depict the kind of feel where we're going in Darien. Whenever new applicants come in, we always tell them, please remove the pole sign, let's try something else. So, how about we remove the pole sign and we agree to do one on the wall and one at your entrance, those two signs.
If you're good with that.
Good with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Look how easy that was. I would have to say I'll get back to you. It's great to have him here, so yeah, perfect.
The big boss.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the only other items in this,
And so, recap that, so just to make sure we're clear, so the sign above the door, where it currently reads People's Bank above your door, or it says 24-hour banking, would be
Right.
illuminated push-through letters,
yes.
sign, okay?
Brandon M&T, yes.
Yeah.
M&T, right, okay, and then the sign on the wall sign would be white pin,
White, right, so these are acrylic, but our exterior pin mount letters are aluminum that are painted. So they're 1/4-inch aluminum letters painted white. So,
and what size would they be?
I
It's
think,
13.
3.5. 3.5.
24 inch. So the capital M is 24 inch, just so this is an 8-inch letter, just so you know. And is that not 24 inch?
I was looking at that.
That might be a little big for us.
Yeah.
Wait a second here.
24 is big.
24 is way too big, I think we're at a max of 12 or maybe 15 there? 20?
We have 20.
You guys might be getting lucky.
Yeah.
Talk about something else.
Talk about something else, okay?
Okay.
15-page sign regulation.
Okay, so
So
yeah, okay.
So according to our reconnaissance, the People's United Bank, the P is an 18-inch letter. Just
Yes,
so
I know you guys
know.
did a great job working with what they say. Yeah, I think what
Yeah.
they have is grandfathered in, our regulations have changed since then, so.
Okay. Which is why they have
Yeah.
to resign to begin
Yes,
with.
okay. So let's talk about your last sign on here. I think there's one last one above the ATMs, correct? Drive-up stuff you want to put in?
So the drive-up ATM drive, yeah.
20
okay.
inches in a pedestrian-oriented business district and 26 inches in an automobile-oriented business district.
Okay, so 20.
That's the regulation. So 20.
All right,
20.
The Good Wives is pedestrian-oriented.
Okay. So the painted white aluminum pin letters on the sidewall, bring down to 20.
Okay,
Beautiful.
Maximum 20.
that's easy enough.
Okay.
Yep, and it won't be lost in the trees, so people can see all of it,
Right.
so that's great. Okay.
You know what I might do to save us time from going through this, because I know you guys, can you guys get us a new version of this with this all-in-one ban? like going through this bit by bit, I don't wanna like, I wanna
Yeah.
keep us moving, like,
Yeah.
it's hard to
Your
see.
revised proposal.
Give us a depiction where it's one band, all the way across, and you can show us what you're proposing.
Okay.
While I'm at that, any guys have any other suggestions of changes you want us to see, like possibly moving the green band to the bottom, possibly dropping one of the clearance, or moving out and there's stuff so when they come back, we're not wasting their time, like, are you guys okay with drive up ATM clearance being written twice and drive up teller? Do you guys wanna see a second version of that at all?
Yes, with fewer,
Small.
it's just a lot of signage.
Right, and honestly, I
Look
think
at
it's
that.
replacing what's there. I mean, it says all of those things along there, so typically we replace like for like, which is why we're proposing that. I mean, we could probably get away with one clearance sign in the middle. But these do end up looking, I will say, quite small, because this particular one is 8-inch overall height, so our typical sign like that is 9 inches. So, I mean, the clearance letters are, I want to say, about 3.5 inches on an 8-inch sign, so it's pretty small.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
I mean,
it be
they're great
seen
letters
under
on
the
my
fascia?
background.
Right.
They're not gonna come out at you.
What
See it
about
as a
under
group.
the fascia here, could the sign be lower? It's very hard to see right under the roof.
Well, I mean, do you need it?
We do need it. You'd be surprised at how many trucks hit canopies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very many.
It's tragic.
And you wanna make sure someone knows one's a drive up ATM and one is a drive up
Yes.
teller.
Right,
I
and
get
I
that.
honestly
I get
think that lower fascia is part inside that's underneath the drive up, so that's,
It's too far away.
It
just
is,
looks like
yeah.
that would
I
be
think that's
more
actually the
visible.
back side
That is the
of
back
it.
side of it, yeah.
Right, so this is, there's just a very short 6-inch or 8-inch fascia on the front.
Do you mind if I just back up for just a second? Question about the moving the M&T sign to the north wall as you're going toward the drive-through. Is there any exterior lights that would be needed or planned for that sign? And are there any on the existing People's United Bank?
I don't believe there are any lights there
Not
now.
for the
Okay, there's
sign.
none intended.
Right,
Correct.
not for the sign. There are ATM lighting lights that exist currently, there's an ATM there,
Okay,
but that's all of it. We're not illuminating it.
okay.
If you guys are doing like SketchUps, I am worried about this going back to this really quickly, being 3.5 inches tall. I don't think people are gonna really be able to read it, or at least the truck will be very close to that point in time. Did you consider possibly doing this in your green color with slightly larger white letters, so it is a little bit more visible, as opposed to doing
Have you ever done that in the past? So a green background with white lettering.
just to be able to have a little, 3.5
Like
inches,
the front
as
door.
to have like
Right.
4.5
Matching with the door, the front door, which has the green back.
We would be open to it, if it's more visible, it's beneficial.
Right, so more like this.
Right.
Can you guys provide a few mock-ups of that option?
Yeah.
Like try the green band, try the white band and green band. Give us some options and you guys put your like, here's our ideal, here's what we'd like.
Right.
And then,
Our first choice.
and then show us like some options so we at least can, so we don't play it out. And that way you can show it to us digitally. And
Okay,
you don't have to come back for another meeting.
thank you for that.
How's that sound?
So
Okay.
we are doing the sign conversion on Labor Day weekend. So all of the People's United branches are going to be M&T branches Labor Day weekend, so,
Congrats.
well, thank you, but I just didn't know why,
That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying you need to move. I do.
No, you're definitely, no, so we can get that to you by the end of the week.
Sure,
So-
maybe we'll make sure it's passed around.
Thank you.
Does it
Okay.
have an address on there at all, like 25 Old Kings Highway, or whatever?
I don't think there's currently one either. I think the whole plaza is 25, isn't
Is
it?
it really? I don't know. I was just curious whether they all
Yeah.
had different numbers, do they?
Yeah, I think you're right, the whole plaza is 20.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah,
okay. That answers that question.
I don't think they have a suite number either.
Tracy, one other thing, when you send us the final mock-ups for us to review,
Yes.
will you send a picture of the sign, like the final sign above the door
Yes.
and the final
It'll
sign
be-
on the wall? So we
yeah,
have everything in
exactly
one
what we
sign.
have.
Okay.
Yep,
Awesome.
all the
So it
changes
shouldn't
will
take
be
too
made.
long, don't worry, I don't want to scare you.
Yeah.
I seriously.
Yeah, so it is a favorable report, but just
Yes.
with some changes and a final PDF review done digitally.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thanks for coming from New Jersey.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was very productive to have
It was-
both, I mean, this is something we work together to have both of you in the room at the same time.
Yes.
And that allowed you to go see the site, so really that was excellent, really
That was
good.
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Really good.
Appreciate
Thank
for
you.
making that.
Yeah, good your time. Get some food while you're in town. We got some good restaurants. Good. Okay, good.
All
All right,
Good night,
guys.
folks.
ARB number 30, 2020, 2298. This is Darien International Tiles on 1915 Post Road.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, across from Roost, basically. Hi.
I'm John Massari from Accent Signs and Awnings.
John, yeah, I know.
They asked me to.
John, can you spell your name for us?
Last name is Massari. They asked me to come at the last minute because their daughter's about to give birth. Anyway, so
Sorry, and you're from,
Accent Signs and Awnings.
Okay.
Okay, so I think this is a fairly simple one. We're just going to do white acrylic letters. We have a 23-foot storefront. This rectangle here is not a background. I just blacked out the existing sign. So when we take the old sign off the building, we will paint it the same color, so there won't be any background. And we're
So
just
that
gonna,
wood rectangular signboard will match the same color of the building?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Not on this.
In fact, I think there's just siding behind that sign.
Okay. Okay.
And then we're just going to do individual white stud-mounted acrylic letters. Because of the 23 square foot, the 7.66 square foot gives us 1 square foot per every 3 linear foot of storefront. So that's the max. We maxed out that sign. We're just going to use a white acrylic stud-mounted letter.
Okay.
Depending on what kind of siding we find behind the sign, it will decide the distance from the wall.
Is there any reason you chose to do the letters in different sizes? I mean, we have a drawing here where the letters are all equal size.
The problem
It'd be
is,
easier to read,
the
actually.
problem is with the word international, if I make everything the same size, tiles become very small. And of course, that's the only thing they really want to put out there.
Oh, okay.
They want, Darien tiles to stand out. They inherited, well, they didn't inherit, they bought this business many years ago. So the word international isn't that important to them. So tiles is really what they need, and at this size, tiles is only 8.5 inches.
is it possible to reduce the length of the board that it's on to maybe be on line with the outside of the lights on either side?
I think when I take off that board, I think there's going to be the vertical siding that you see on the sides continues down.
So the letters will be directly mounted to the
Directly mounted on the building.
Much better.
Okay.
background,
Perfect.
not to a board that then
No,
mounts
that's
to
much
the
better.
Just a question, and if you take off that board, right?
Mhm.
Could you put, I don't know if you'd have to mock it up, but could you put Darien International tiles between the two windows, like all the way across? Like a
Just in one long line?
Blackboard, yeah. 'Cause I agree, I think that it's the difference in size between the 5 and 8 is distracting, doesn't make a lot of sense. I get why you did it,
I've tried this many different ways, and I felt that the only way to get them any decent sized letter on tiles was to stack it this way. I'd be happy to make you drawings.
It just seems to me that if it was almost like a clapboard where it was a different color and it still came mounted, but the whole red,
Shadow is not going on.
I don't know, it's not doing it.
Can I ask, is this square footage set in stone? Because the existing sign behind there, I know they said it wasn't permitted, but it is much bigger. If I could have a little more square footage.
Well, we could make exceptions if there's a sign that we like better, that we think is like, you know.
Okay.
Per ARB.
Yeah, right, yeah, that is like, so.
That's a very small
There's some leeway.
frontage.
What about removing international? Have they ever thought about just doing Darien tiles, by the way?
Maybe they'd consider abbreviating international. It's kind of a legal thing.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
they could do it.
Running a better healthy massage. Sorry.
Great. Okay.
What if it was like,
Yeah, I'd be interested to see it on one line.
if you put it like a clapboard, and you put it like where the, you know, between the transoms, like right, like all the way across.
Word international.
Yeah, I don't think you have enough, I don't think you have enough length there with all three words.
International is gonna be in the middle.
Just bring it down a little bit from where, I mean, you could probably fit it at the bottom of where that signboard
Right,
is.
exactly.
Yeah, but you have to make small letters to go underneath.
I'd like to see if it did
Edge of the
fit,
roof.
because I do think it was.
I don't think the height is gonna be high enough. I think they're gonna look small.
I think it depends on what kind of background it's on. I don't think I would do it on a red background. Like if it was like gray or something like that with white or black letters.
Big enough letters.
We did want to put it on the background, but the reason that we did this was for the square footage. Because if I add to the background, I've got to make the letters smaller. But if you're giving me some leeway, I'd be happy to make a couple different drawings for the background.
I mean, I like it personally on the gray, the way it is better than the red.
The gray.
Where the old sign.
That, or the white.
I mean, it looks at least like a clapboard versus like, if you think of it's pin mounted or on a red, like the same color as the actual facade.
I actually prefer this.
I do
for the-
too.
Yeah.
I prefer this too.
Yeah.
I
That
mean, you
so it's
could
coming
have it
out
on some
personal.
sort of flat panel, right? Because
This versus the
on
white.
vertical
Versus this one.
pieces of that.
Yeah.
Well, if I pin mount it, I'm gonna just move it away from the
It's
building.
just, there's a lot of, there'll be a lot going on, I think.
So there
Right.
are certain letters that are different depth than other letters based on where those
Right,
are.
because clapboard would be in the middle, so one side of the letter might be off the building and the other side might be right up against it. So you'd rather have it on a background?
Yeah, but you could tighten that up too. I mean, I think the rectangle as shown is bigger than it
I
needs
think
to
you
be.
just
Right.
photoshopped it.
Well, I just photoshopped out.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, but, yeah, so like, then, what we're looking at here is then the background, like,
Okay.
just within a few inches.
Okay. So you want to see that pretty much on the background, then you want to see it on one line?
Yeah, I'm not convinced on the one line, I think that might, I think having it compact and stacked is just easier to read, yeah. Otherwise, you're Darien International style. There's like, I think just the visual impact of the stacked words is more immediate. I would ask a question of like whether reducing the word international, since that doesn't seem to be as important, and Darien and tiles are the same
Same
size.
size?
That's a good
Darien
idea.
tiles,
Yeah.
international.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
I like that better.
I have a background.
I like that
So
too.
maybe the international is like, 3.5 inches, and then Darien and tiles is both 8 inches.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Maybe adjust the spacing in between the letters of Darien tiles to potentially match the width of those with the width of international or smaller font. I don't know, just thought, but I think at the very least shows that on a signboard that better reflects the ratio of those words and then try one with them all on one line.
But do we want a contrasting background versus the red for the
I like the
back?
red, I don't know, that's my
That's the word I'm going
preference.
As long as the back report is smaller.
You know, if it's, is it easy enough that you could show us one in red and one in white, just,
Okay. Well, the white background would have black letters, or do you want black?
Yeah. So, Rick, you might be the only one for the whites, I think you might get boxed out here. Okay, so just on the red
No, I like the
background.
white.
Red and
Oh, you like the white background?
No, the white letters.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, I don't
Well, we
like
could do the white letters on a black background too.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we can do three options, maybe the same thing, but with Darien tiles, the same height, shrinking international, also showing us with a smaller one where it's on a smaller signboard,
Okay.
right? Because we're gonna do, the first one's gonna be applied letters just to the just to the paneling, right? Or does that totally go, are they always gonna have a signboard behind it?
Yeah, well, I thought we were gonna put right on the building.
I thought you wanted to see one with a signed board as well.
Yes.
I thought it was going right on the
I
facade.
gotta get on the
ideally.
facade.
Me too.
Yeah, okay, I thought you talked about, okay,
Just on
But
the
we,
board
but we
in
also
back.
talked about putting it on a backer board.
yeah.
That's,
Okay, 3 options, backer
Yes.
board like that, one directly to the facade, and one that's on a straight line.
that's right.
And that would go directly to the facade as well.
How can they do it on the facade with these, the vertical, just have to put thicker? And just put
That's
thicker
how you
letters,
use it,
okay,
right.
so.
Or the bigger things.
Yeah.
The letter of
Yeah.
existence.
Yeah.
So, but you're asking for white letters?
All white letters each time, yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and I'll
That'll be,
email,
that'll be in the letter.
I'll email
Yeah.
it to zoning.
You can email it to Hervé, you have,
So the one, for the record, the owners are aware that their banner is currently not compliant with the area zoning regulation. I gave them a notice, and then we agreed that since there was no way for any other identification of the store, if they remove the banner, it's the, whatever is underneath is just not gonna give people direction. So the banner is gonna stay until the new sign goes, even though we know it's not compliant.
Okay.
That's what we worked out. So there won't be a period without a sign on it until we finally agree, and it's probably, I don't, you guys are gonna try to see it before September, or you wanna see?
I think if you can
this
send it in and you can pass it around digitally over the next week, we
Pass
can
it
look at
around
it. I'd like to move it
sooner
along.
than September, but the next, yeah.
Okay,
Great.
I will call you and get you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, no, yeah, that's not my area.
Sorry. Sorry. Finishing these notes. All right, guys, Tokenique Club, ARB number 32. We are skipping Seymour's, we're gonna do them at the end, okay, guys? They are longer discussions, so we're gonna move Seymour's all the way to the end, thanks. ARB 3222. That's you guys, Tokenique Club. So ladies, I'm gonna have you introduce yourself. You kind of get the rhythm now. Introduce yourself and what your company is and what you represent. To save yourself time, your drawings are beautiful. I don't want to cut off like a lovely architectural presentation. This is your audience. We love that more than anything. But to save time,
Yeah.
we've seen the drawings. We kind of know what's happening here. So
Okay.
I would do as brief of a recap as possible. This is a private club in a very private way. Most people go to. So
Absolutely.
you kind of understand the situation here. This is a formal, informal review in a lot of ways. So
Okay.
we can make it. hopefully-
So we just, Tokenique, my name is Mella Kernan, Mella Kernan, Principal Architect at Rogers McCagg in Norwalk, and I'm here tonight with Bill Rutherford, Landscape Architect,
Rogers, sorry.
Rogers McCagg, MCCAGG, Architects in Norwalk, and we've been engaged by the Tokenique Club to look at their new, to update and bring in the new pool to their existing pool facility. This is the Tokenique Club. This is their existing pool here. It's 60 years old. This is their existing bathhouse across the back here, and then the clubhouse that was built and finished in 2016. We're just concentrating right now on the pool and the bathhouse. The whole area is in the VE zone in FEMA, so it's below flood zone, so we're very limited on what we can do. They have an existing pool right now, 6-lane pool that is, I think we can move forward more. That is undersized. It's supposed to be a 6-lane pool. It's marked for a 6-lane pool. It's not exactly a 6-lane pool. It's 25 meters long. This is it here. And they have a diving well over here that has a 1-meter board that's a little bit shallow for today's standards requirements. It has a concrete pool deck here, and it has a white aluminum fence around it that makes it like a cage. The idea is to sort of bring it out so that we can provide them with something that's a bit more pleasing, attracts more members to use it, and also enhances the view of the sound from the enclosure. The existing bathhouses here, all these little boxes along the back are what the club call lockers. They're changing little facilities. They're like 3x5. They're very small. They're not used. They are poured concrete walls on the outside with a scored line, and then they have a CMU interior wall
We're taking quite a few of them down in this area over here to open it up for a plaza, for a snack bar, and then taking some of the remaining ones and breaking 2 into 1 to make them more pleasing so that the members will actually in fact use them. Because it's a FEMA zone, we're very limited on how much we can spend on the building before bringing it up to code. Bringing it up to code would mean lifting it 8 feet up in the air, which would not be very pleasant for the neighbors, and looking at pillars underneath. So what we decided to do is to take this building here, which is their pool equipment area, and knock it down and basically get more state-of-the-art, modern pool equipment that can be left outside and put a nice, pleasant fence screen around that, and then concentrate on just spending the money on this area in here in the center, and then again moving this area over here for the snack bar. So here is the proposed. Proposed is a 6-lane pool, 25 meters to regulation for 6 lanes, with the diving well that will be deep enough for 1 meter board, and then a learn to swim area where the young families can gather closer to the water. This is what they call a 0 entry, and then it starts at 0 and slopes down until it gets to be 4 feet over here, right in here. This is the new pool enclosure fence. The way that we're going to have to build this, we're going to have a cofferdam, so we're putting a bluestone cap on the top of the cofferdam, and inside that having a brushed concrete pool slab that will be scored to make it look like large paving slabs, and then having a very transparent but code compliant pool fence with an IP top on it as a wood rail, which will bleach out over time and become more sort of like in keeping.
Wait, it's a wood fence?
No, it's actually going to be marine grade stainless steel with a powder coating on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it'll be gray and sort of a silver gray, so that when you're looking through it at the water, it will be this very similar color to the water.
I didn't see a detail in the package of the pool fence.
On the materials for it. Is this the only one we have of it? Yeah. Those are the 2 pictures here. You can see that it disappears.
Yep.
It's basically
It's transparent, so we saw through it.
Yeah. And it's the color of the water, so you can see through it. Yeah, that's the whole idea.
And it doesn't have any footholds.
It doesn't have any, no, it can't have any footholds. No, it's got very, very specific requirements in the Department of Public Health on what a pool fence can be.
That's why I'm asking.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, it's big.
It does meet the code, absolutely.
Yeah, we've already used it somewhere else, so it was fine.
Okay.
So, like you can see here, just sitting areas. These are actually planter boxes because the drainage is underneath. This apple tree will go, but Bill will talk about this, and that there's screening, planting here. We're increasing the size of the planters around, trying to soften
Can you
everything
talk more about that? Sorry, because
Bill will
I
talk
looked
about the
specifically
planting.
and it said that the tree was to stay.
Yeah, but it
And
can't
then
the way we're going to build it, because
You're
we talked
going
about
to
this.
be right against the neighbors. And in that pool fence detail you just showed us, you have beautiful screening.
Yeah, this is an existing fence along here along the property line that will stay.
It will
It's a
stay.
10-foot fence,
So
and
there's
it's
no
on the
change.
neighbors. No change to that one. It's the one between the beach and the pool enclosure that will change.
But as far as noise, because now this is quite a larger pool for the neighbor.
We presented it last week at PZ&C, and they came along and they were in support, and Bill and Chris Hughes, who's here with us tonight, are meeting with the neighbor to review the planting. We had kept the planting lower initially and kept the apple tree, but the apple tree is not viable based on the sort of construction means and methods of how it's going to be built. But the neighbor actually wanted taller trees, so we thought we would be blocking their view, but they were actually adamant that they actually wanted something a little bit taller, so we're putting in something that can grow taller, and then they can establish what height they want it to be pruned down
And is
to.
that planting in this package?
It's in here, yeah.
The planting plan.
Here it is.
It was changed for PZC, so yes, we have a new one here, we'll send it to you.
Because these are not tall trees.
No, we had to change it from PZC
Okay.
last week, so we'll present the revised one here.
Okay.
So this is the new pool equipment enclosure, state-of-the-art pool equipment. The filters and the pumps are actually below grade. They're actually in water all the time, so that in the event of a storm surge or whatever, it doesn't matter that they get wet because they're wet anyway. All the electrical and electronic connections have to be in a watertight vault that will be engineered to withstand all the wave action, will be engineered to be, it'll be a concrete vault, it'll be scored to look like the rest of the buildings, and the door will face away from the tide, so that will be in here.
Sorry, can you now tell me how tall that fence is, because that's where the pool equipment is too, right?
This pool, yes, this fence here is going to be as tall as the neighboring building, so the building that's coming down.
Okay, so it's gonna be
Screen, yeah, and it's vertical on the pool side. It'll be something like this. Vertical natural wood, again, won't have the footholes or anything.
Right.
And then we'll plant against it so that you, on this side here, you plant against it so you can
May I
see.
ask a question? Why was the pool set so much right on the building restriction line in the setback? Is
Here?
there- Yes.
That is the 25-foot setback
That's
for
it
the
is.
side yard, and then the pool construction, the pool
Correct. But
will be
there's
inward of that.
a deliberate decision to put it right there.
That's where it is.
Is
right
it because
now.
the beach, yes, is it
Yeah.
because they wanted to maximize the amount of beach area on the other side?
Yes.
So that they push the pool as much as possible? Because that really creates more difficulty for a vegetation buffer to be in that strip of land which is fairly small.
Yeah,
Right?
the
That's kind
diving,
of going along what Leslie was saying, is that, you know, that area between the pool and the neighbor, between the decking and the 10-foot fence, it's not a whole lot of natural area, so I'm interested to hear what you want to say about that.
yes, actually, there is no planting at all there now.
Yeah, now there isn't.
So we're putting planting, but the pool diving area is right at that area right now. So we're not increasing the pool any closer to the neighbor than what exists.
Right.
And then with the zero entry, that has just increased it a little bit. Also, we're taking the diving board farther away from
Right,
the
just
neighbor,
on the other side.
which is a noise issue.
Right.
And that keeps the kids more in this area versus congregating in that area. And we're working very closely with our neighbor on the planting. It's all native plants. It's presently sand. There is a shed in there between the existing fence and the fence. One of the things is when you come into the pool area, your view is right down here. So that's why I have the tall cedars in this area, because we've got a 10-foot fence, which is not the most pleasant thing to look at. So we're trying to hide that. But we are working with the neighbor, and originally he wanted low plants, so we weren't blocking his view lines. Now he says, no, I'd like some taller plants. There's also behind the apple tree, it's a crab apple tree we're taking down, there are existing deciduous trees, taller. So it's not as though that tree is doing a lot of screening right now. It's part of the screening. But we're going to be putting, everything is going to be native. The new plants, and this could be all solid planting we're putting in. And then, actually, I'm using, where it's real low, and he wants to have a view, I'm using beach grass, which is, we're looking to hold the sand in place so it doesn't drift into our pool. So there's a lot of things we're looking at from a planning standpoint.
And do you have permission to remove the planting along this strip? Because you're so close to the water? Have you received permission to get rid of the crabapple and?
In what?
Because it's near a waterway. Do you need permission
No,
to
it's
have that?
above it's landward of the coastal jurisdiction.
Yeah, we're landward of any
Okay.
coast, from the state standpoint, right?
The state has already reviewed this.
Yeah.
You can't take anything else.
Go for it.
One more request. If we can go to the plan, and I know that it's this door right here. Is this the pool house?
Yeah, that's existing.
And then what's this?
That's the view of water over the pool there.
Can we make this swing the other way? I just get concerned, as you know, all pool fences and gates have to
Yeah, swing
swing
out,
out.
enclosure.
Right.
So this just makes me nervous if the mom doesn't know where her child is or whatever, that somebody can access the pool.
I'm not sure how they would get in,
Well, how is this door secured?
but this door is inside the pool enclosure.
So isn't this a direct entry into the pool?
No, you
Yeah.
have to come through the pool entrance here to go
Yes,
into
don't
that
go into
chamber.
that area.
But let's say I'm already in here. Is this door gonna be locked? Is there an alarm on this door?
The only way you can go into this room area is come into the pool enclosure area. So you can't,
Get in from outside.
you can't go in from any other direction. So these are the ones that are all, going
Oh,
out.
I'm pulling out.
Yeah, and the sign-in window is
Right.
right
And
there.
then you have the magna lock.
Yeah, the punch lock.
Yeah, the punch lock.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks, Leslie. Okay.
Okay, so just the existing, like I said, the existing building is a white painted concrete, reinforced concrete building, probably 60 years old, same vintage as the pool. It was scored with lines to make it look like CMU. It's 10 inches. We're basically going to take the color of the existing clubhouse, the front building, which is a soft gray, and paint the building the same sort of soft gray. So that is that is the color that is. So just very subtly, again, just try and get it to blend in rather than to contrast with the beach. We're taking the front clubhouse building, which is the restaurant of the clubhouse, has a very soft gray color to it, and we're just going to adapt this, take the same color and connect the whole place together as a campus. And then keep their blue awnings, and any pergolas or anything like that will be natural cedar. Just very, very simple details. Just keep it very clean. For landscape lighting, there is very limited landscape lighting proposed. There are some existing fixtures around the building that are basically emergency fixtures that are mounted up above the FEMA base flood elevation level. They're mounted on the building. They're white right now. We'll swap them out with something that's new, that everything will point down, just illuminate the path of egress. That's what these are over here. Where the snack bar area is over here underneath the new pergola. Because this isn't a FEMA zone, we have to have portable cooking equipment. So there's an outdoor cooking company called Vermont Island Kitchen who make these sections of cooking equipment that are refrigeration, and then they have an integrated hand sink and all the requirements for the health department. They're on casters, they can be locked, and then when you need to put them away, they're going to be they're custom built, so we're going to size them so that they fit inside the club's service elevator, so that when they're not in use, they're put away and brought up to the attic. And when they know of a storm event coming, they can literally just be pushed aside. And they will go under here. We're putting a roofed area over here, just over where the employees are working, so we can put some paddle fans in there and get some air movement, make it comfortable for them to work. And then the awning will be, the pergola will be a clear cedar wood on pergola. There'll be some catenary. Etymology, Darien, I think. I've never heard the word catenary lights until I looked it up the other day. But anyway, they'll be up between the rafters of the pergola to just shine down. And then there is a company in Canaan, Connecticut that makes a very simple canister to canister rollout awning that can roll across the top of it and basically just provide some shade. It'll also provide some rain protection.
What's the color on that awning? Is that the blue?
The awning is going to be sort of a pearl gray similar to the building.
How far does the VE zone come?
VE zone is completely, totally, 100%, the whole thing.
All
This
over,
is
right?
elevation 9, and the whole place is VE space.
So how are you handling the VE and the impact and all that on the locker portion, because it's a solid wall, so like, you have.
Everything has to be engineered to withstand wave, if it's not able to be removed and brought away,
Right.
it has to be able to withstand wave action. When we submitted this to you guys, we had thought that we were going to have a big commercial grade pool heater, and so we had recommended over the top of the electric closet to put a platform that was right at elevation 17, which is base flood elevation, and put a low, large commercial grade pool heater there with an aluminum screen around it, again, to sort of pick up on the gray tones. Aluminum won't rust, so it would be something that would basically be just, would screen the unit. We've since been working with Drakeley Pools, who do these outdoor pools all the time. He doesn't recommend us using a large commercial grade heater. He says they're very hard to maintain. If it's down, the whole thing is down. He said to take 3 residential grade pool heaters and replace the large one, so that at least if one is down, the other 2 are still working. And he recommends not putting it up on the roof. He actually says put it down at grade, and they're the size of a small roller bag. He says they can disconnect easily and be removed of all the pool equipment and the pieces that are out here. He says they can come out quickly. So the club is actually putting together a preparedness plan, is what it's called. Yeah, for the Planning and Zoning Commission to demonstrate how they get the club ready, which would address that. So this is being considered at the moment. Yes.
Has there been any thought about geothermal for the, as part of the whole heating strategy? Because I've been looking at this for a residential project, actually doing geothermal for the pool heating, and it was actually mentioned that it's used quite often for larger pools. Has that been investigated in any way?
Geothermal, under my understanding, gets up to 50 degrees. And usually it's
Well, it's most efficient during the shoulder season. Well, actually, it's most efficient during the summer because
For
you've
cooling.
got, no, for heating.
Oh, okay.
Because you've got more, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of an air source heat pump, but either way, geothermal or air source heat pump, but an alternate strategy rather than using a fuel burning appliance to help heat the pool. It might need to be supplemented with the propane, but you could size it down. You could have a lower carbon footprint. I think there's some considerations that can be thought about. Granted, that's not aesthetics, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Well, also with the heaters, they may not be used all the time.
Yeah.
The pool I swim in, I belong to Rocky Point, we're 82 degrees.
Already, yeah.
Already.
Yeah, so they're only going to be used for a limited
Yeah,
period.
and so that, to me, sort of knocks out the use of geothermal.
From a initial cost standpoint.
Right.
But there are air source heat.
But this pool is going to heat up a lot, and they're not going to use those heaters all the time. It's only at certain
Again, I'm
days.
just thinking in terms of the
Beginning of the season
equipment
and the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm thinking in terms of the equipment, this large propane tank, the burning, fuel. If there's a way to reduce that, I would just, again, I'm not dictating it. I'm just commenting. There's no real aesthetic aspect to it, and that's what we're here for, is more of an aesthetic review. One other question I have is, I think we brought up the term resiliency, is the pool deck, does that have a solid wall down to the actual beach? You said there's a fence above it, but then what elevation is the pool deck?
So the pool deck is at the elevation of the existing pool deck, which is elevation 9.5, I think it is.
9.5.
Yeah, and that's the existing. There will be, to build in this V zone, we do have to put in a copper dam and sheet piling, and to actually be able to build in that. So that will be pretty much underneath here, and then it'll have a cap on it that will be a concrete cap. And then the cap, we will finish with the bluestone, so that it is that.
But then you'll see the copper beam from underneath.
I don't think you'll see the copper. You'll see the.
That'll be screened, or
You won't see it because it's going to be at the same elevation as sand.
Okay, so the sand elevation is at. So if you're at 9.5, the sand adjacent to that is at, like.
There's an 18-inch cap
Okay.
on the cofferdam,
Right.
which basically
On
takes
the-
up the
on the
transition
That goes
from
from
here
the
to
sand
here.
up to the
Yeah,
rest of the pool?
yeah.
Okay.
And then a 2-inch stone on top of that.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Norman, I didn't catch your last name, sorry.
My name?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Rutherford,
Perfect.
Rutherford. Okay, thanks.
That's great, guys. Any other comments? I mean, favorable report. You guys did a really thoughtful job. I mean, it's amazing, guys, when you said for under budget to not hit FEMA. I would love to see your financial report on this thing. That's amazing. Good luck.
Thank you.
You get a favorable report from us that kind of recaps the details, but
Thank you very much.
Okay.
thanks for your time.
Maybe we should use some more.
All right, guys, we have ARB number, yeah.
Sorry, did you want to?
Oh, you know what? Oh, that's one thing. Bill, can we get, Bill, right?
Yes.
Yes, can we get a final version of your landscape plan? Of your, with the new tree, you made some adjustments today with the new trees? Can you send us a
I
PDF?
think it's,
No, because when we submitted to ARB, it was
Okay.
before the neighbor's request. We
Yeah.
have it here?
We have it here.
Can you email it to
Email it
us? A PDF for our
PDF,
files,
yeah.
we want to see.
yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
And
Thanks.
understand, things may change a little bit in height. If our neighbor says, I want this tree
Okay.
a little bit higher, that's what we're going to work very closely with.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys. ARB number 33, it's a 22102 in Viewpoint, ERI building. Hi. Good, thanks for waiting. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Ken Bepley from the ERI building.
All right. Ken Epley, gotcha. Is Mike here with you?
No, he's got COVID, unfortunately.
Can you spell your last name, please?
I'm sorry?
Can you please spell your last name?
Epley, Epley.
And Ken, are you with ERI or are you with?
Yes,
You are ERI.
He is
That's your
ERI.
company?
yes.
Got it. Okay.
Mike and I are partners.
Got it, okay. So I think we've got, do you want to say anything about your proposal, or you want us to just comment?
I mean, give me your
Do
comments
you
on
want to give us background on it, like you
Sure. So we used to be at 199 West Avenue.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we moved, actually, we were at 209 15 years ago. We went to 199, now we're going back to 209.
Okay.
So essentially, the lettering that was put up there was the lettering that was at 199. I mean, it was just kind of repurposing the same lettering that was already down there.
It was, the 199 was the arched one, though.
Those are the same letters, they were just, those white letters were on the brick, and now
So you're
it's,
taking the existing white letters off the brick and putting it on the backer board, on the
Right,
black backer board?
right. Because obviously the white wouldn't show on the white.
All right. I don't know, comments? I don't love it, I'm so sorry to
I
say.
know,
It's just not attractive, but I don't have a productive solution, so I might throw it to
Yeah.
the board to make some comments here.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe different type of sign.
It's the font.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's not the words, it's the font. I mean, it's a black background, white letters, but if you had a different font, it would, I think, look
Yeah.
better.
I mean, it's the same font that was, we had 5 doors down, as well removed.
Yeah,
I think it's also that
So
it's too,
kind of part of the branding at this point, it's what people are used to seeing coming into our office.
What do you say?
even though it's 8 inches and I understand that it should be, I think it's too big for that space. I don't know whether it would look better pin mounted without background.
Yeah, no, I just put out a
What are those letters made of?
I think they're like a PVC material.
Can they be painted a different color? To make the letters come on a white background, you'd have to change the letter color, so is that possible to paint?
Yeah, I
the
guess
letters?
we could paint them and do the
I mean,
reverse,
that's kinda
do
what-
the ERI
I
as
think
black.
it should be pin mounted and no background.
Black
Yeah.
pin mounted letters?
Black pin mounted, or the color of the door, is that what the color of the door is?
Can't tell.
What color is the door?
Well, the door is not straight ahead, that's actually a panel, the door is off to the side, so you don't see the door from
Got it.
from the
What
front.
color is the panel?
White.
I mean, I like that better, I don't know. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, so what made it more successful on the curved brick was that it was individual letters pin mounted to the brick. And I think what Rebecca's recommending is the same concept of individual letters mounted to the, whether it's white or another.
What color is the clapboard above the
The building's of gray vinyl or blue-gray vinyl, I guess.
I mean, even if there were white letters on that back, on that white fascia, that would make it feel better. It feels like it's squashed and they're very chunky.
It's very squashed.
Big
And the
chunky.
font is completely different than the other.
It looks
You know,
different.
it absolutely, one is contemporary, it's very different. The letters are different font. It should be the same font, I would think.
Well, it is,
It's
they're the same letters. They're the same letters. It looks,
But they're
yes.
not. They don't
No,
look the same.
ERI,
The thing about
It's just
Mary
the
is
R,
it's
the R is a contemporary R.
No, it's the exact same.
You what?
the
Your,
exact
your
same.
eye is speaking up on something. This is what was approved by the ARB the first time around. That was the presentation from the ARB.
Right, I'm talking about this one here.
Yeah, I know.
Does not match that one.
And so that's why in your package I put these two pictures to show you what was approved by the ARB and what was put on the building.
Oh, so we
Spin
approved
mount.
something, they did something different originally.
Slightly different,
Got it.
same letter, same concept, it's different, slightly different font.
So
Yeah,
we,
but what I'm saying is if you have the same building, you should keep the same font between both of them.
So this is what they took. They took these letters, which is the same as what is.
Can I, besides black and
It's not the
leather
same as
letters,
the curved one.
would you do a blade sign with
Because that is a
hanging? 'Cause it's like next to-
So, you know,
That's
this-
that's a
this
nice
matches.
idea.
Yeah.
What was that? I missed that, sorry.
Well, then,
so again,
I said besides black pin mounted letters on that board, fascia board, what about a blade sign?
well, what about just black on the facial?
I'm not sure what you mean by
Oh,
blade.
oh,
A blade is like a hanging sign in front, so like
Oh.
well, like almost like a realtor sign, but like a little bit bigger.
And then you could like eliminate it. It's residential sort of looking place, and
Right.
throughout Post Road, a lot of those type of signs are used in those type of settings.
So it would be like a double-sided sign that you'd see coming from two
Yeah.
different directions and
Yeah,
out.
could it be mounted on a pole?
Placed in the front.
And
It's like a
Okay.
post.
But yeah,
So you put it on a post.
instead of the building, could be forward of the.
Sipster has one.
So the architectural point of view is to say that the fact that there is a commercial signage on something, on a building that's not meant to receive signage
Right.
is a problem.
well, this
Yeah, it's well said.
this type of sign was on
it's well
there,
said.
but that was in early
I think the
2000s
problem
when we
in
were
my
there,
mind
and
is
then
it's too,
It's out of character.
it's out of character, and that area that you're kind of an 8-foot letter
Right.
is too small. So something like that.
and how big can that hanging part be? Because then trying to fit on ERI building a design. I mean, I have a logo that like.
But it would look more, yeah,
But
you could
you
put a
won't be able to read it, it's too small for people.
Well,
Part of
the
it
sign would
is,
be about
yeah,
yay big.
Yeah.
right.
So,
But then you could have your logo and it would look very
It would look real good.
professional.
But except you won't be able to read ERI, it would be too small on a sign.
Depending on what's done.
If you try and put all this on a, on like a sign you would put on a construction site, say, what's the size they would allow, like the
The blade
18 by
size
24?
up to 7 square feet.
7 square.
7, but automobile-oriented business district, which, this is West Avenue, I'd have to double check. It's 12 square feet, so 4 by 3. 3 by 4 is a good size.
That is
Huge.
big.
Yeah, I don't,
That's big.
That's
So
huge.
that's not a bad size.
well, that's max.
no, I know.
That's a max.
To me, that's worse
I went
than
to the max.
Anyway, I ended up trying to repurpose. So one other thought I had is to cut it down, and I just put, all I'm really looking for is the clients to find me now, right? I've moved a couple doors down, is just change it, just do the ERI building part, cut off the design part, and just at least they can find us.
It still doesn't answer the
Sure,
problem though,
no.
where like it's this unattractive blackboard with these bulky white letters, like,
Uh-huh.
I think we're still at the same roadblock of figuring out an alternate option. Whether it's a blade sign,
Or the monument
A
sign.
monument
So
sign in the
The monument
ground.
sign is based on the ground and you
Yeah.
can have pretty good size. You can go
Uh-huh.
pretty big.
What do you think
with
about
monument
that?
So you're saying it can go up to how many square feet?
sign. So this, what I have is the parallel blade sign, which means parallel to the building facade hung from an overhang or covered area, that's the flappy one, right? Would be 12 square foot max. A perpendicular is 7 square feet max. So if you have, like, the one on the sign is 7 square feet, so 2 by 3.5, whatever, just the one.
Or could it be on 2 posts, like, so it's not flattened in the wind?
I think we're gonna need to take this conversation
Different.
outside of this. I think, you know, there's 3 different options. One is either just get black pin mounted letters and put them on that fascia board.
Okay, so these letters, or you
I
want
would pick
a different letter?
font.
Yeah, I would certainly recommend a different
I
font.
mean, even
Okay.
if you
Sarah,
went to
right?
the.
What about this font?
Sarah.
Yeah, even like this
So
one,
that's option
even
one.
if you went to the original design.
Yeah,
that was
I'd
the
go with that
ARB
font too.
That,
proposed.
Again, that's the same
more
font that-
residential looking.
It's not the same font.
the one that was approved by ARB but was never done.
It is not the
Come
same
and
font.
see that, that's
That's basically what happened.
graphically, this is
Dave,
what was in the
continue to recap
package.
after this.
Yes.
I dug up the old package, you can see the difference. The
oh,
font
okay,
of
so that's not
that.
what ended up going
No,
on there?
that's not what I ended up getting on there.
I see,
That
okay.
was-
All right, I don't even remember seeing this, obviously.
But doesn't this looks nicer, right, Ken?
Yeah, no, I
It looks
agree.
much better.
Yeah, it's a little softer.
And the letters are spaced a little better.
So I don't,
Letters are
I'm not sure
spaced.
what
It
happened
looks
when it
Not
originally
quite so
got done. but-
commercial.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay, Dave, keep recapping your 3 things, so.
Right, so either something like that, pin mounted,
Black.
black letters on a white fascia board, explore blade sign,
Uh-huh.
talk to us, or just look it up in the sign regulations, what size you can do for a blade sign or a monument sign.
So would you be okay with this font in black on that fascia?
Have to see it.
Yeah, we have to see it.
You can somehow mock that up and
Okay.
send it to us.
Okay. Do you have a copy of this? that I can print?
Yeah, I can send you a copy, I'd like to keep that one,
Okay,
they
yeah.
all have one.
Okay.
So Ken, you can send these to Hervé, to the PDFs, and he can work with you, but I think you're gonna have to come back and see us. I think it's too much of a discussion, we still have, like, we're reviewing some
Okay.
PDFs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to do that to you.
No,
But you can work with Hervé in the meantime, and he can kind of, have casual dialogue off of you to kind of
Same
guide
thing,
you.
your sign is not coming down, it's gonna be there until it's replaced, right?
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna figure it out. No, I don't even remember this happening, obviously it was a long time ago when this was put up there, but, I understand what you're looking for. So, okay. All
Okay,
right,
so I'll give you a
I'll work
letter
on it.
recapping those 3 options.
okay,
2007, so that's 15 years ago.
yeah, yeah.
Got it. And Hervé can probably give you a font too, he'll probably guide you to font.
Does anybody know what they think that font is?
It's a serif font. Just tell your sign guy it's a serif. You don't want a sans serif font, you want a serif font.
What is it?
A serif font. Means it has little caps on it.
yeah.
It didn't say, it didn't say there.
All right, Ken, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see you hopefully in September.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
All right, we got Darren's Sports Shop now, ARB number 34, 2022. It's PL 22103. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Welcome. Good to see you again.
Hello, everybody.
The infamous Neil. Well, actually, you guys introduce yourself.
So, for the record, I'm Neil Howick from Neil Howick Architects here in town. This is Gina Zangrillo, the applicant and owner of Darren's Sports Shop. This is her son Greg, who is the heir apparent to this Darren's Sports Shop. And we're here to review a proposed change to the facades, sort of minor changes. There are 8 points. And I provided you with the existing photographs and then renderings of the proposed changes. So what I think I'd like to do is just go down the 8 points quickly.
Perfect.
And then get your questions.
Okay. Neil, I kind of know this with you. I'm going to run ladies' room, so I don't mean to. I know most of this stuff, so I'm going to keep going. So keep going.
Oh, keep going.
Oh, wait, do not wait for me. That'd be humiliating.
All right.
Continue. I'll do that.
Super silent.
All right. So the point number 1, if you look at the existing elevations, there are 2 porticos along the post road that are I think, out of character with the architectural language of the rest of the building. So they're more traditional in their design. We'd like to remove them and replace them with something along the lines of this, which is sort of a wedge, standing seam metal portico that will, it's like a non-fabric awning, if you will, that will be standing seam metal and sort of relate to the other standing seam roofs on the project, on the existing building. That's number one. Number two, there are 4 somewhat traditional carriage lamps that we'd like to remove and replace with more modern versions. In this case, we're proposing a Hubbardton Forge, they call it a banded outdoor sconce, which is basically a cylinder that's held in place by, it's got a back plate and then 2 bands that hold it in place. And the finish we're proposing is a coastal burnished steel, which is a very, very nice finish that will blend in with the color scheme that we're proposing for the rest of the building.
So just to clarify, what's the standing seam metal, what is the color on that?
That's going to end up being a very dark charcoal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that
Is it
matches
matching?
the,
This is all the other standing seams.
We're going to paint the other standing seams. Right now they're brownish, so we want to paint
So
them
they'll all be the
all.
same
So
color.
they'll all be the same color, yes. So that's number 2.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, number 3, the 2, if you look at the existing, the southeast and southwest corners of the building, there are currently display windows that are kind of recessed back. What we'd like to do is bring the surface of the glass out across the underside of the existing roof, as you see here, which will, the geometry will then give us a larger display window that the traffic sees as you're driving up the post road in each direction. That I want to point out that those will be tucked under the existing roof, so we're not planning to expand the footprint of the building at all. The 4th item is, if you look at the existing, in this corner, the southeast corner now, there's a window up here on the 3rd floor. We'd like to take that out, replace it with stucco to match the rest of the adjacent stucco, and you see that in the existing, the proposed drawing. The 5th item is a very large window that faces the parking lot as one drives in from the post road. That actually is a staircase in there. And years ago, the fire marshal granted permission for the store to use that for storage, so it's really used for storage. And at night, when the light's on, you can see through to storage shelving, and it's not very attractive. So the thought there is that we would remove the glass and stucco that surface as well. So you'd have a blank wall facing the parking lot, which sort of quiets everything down a bit, but we thought at certain times, like for instance at Christmas, you could hang a large wreath there.
The blank wall is nice. It does quiet it down a bit, and you can hang a flag from there in 4th of July too.
Yeah, right. That will be a surface for all kinds of things.
Very cool.
The 6th item is that we want to repaint the building in a 2-tone color scheme, which is shown in the proposed renderings. And the thought there is that we would have a lighter gray, almost off-white type gray at the pedestrian level, which would really focus that pedestrian scale as people are walking up down the sidewalk. And then a darker color scheme for the upper level that would have that sort of recede and add some life to the building. The colors we're thinking maybe something like a Benjamin Moore rock gray for the darker, and then perhaps a Benjamin Moore silvery moon for the lighter. But we're very happy to do some paint samples and have you all come out if you care to.
Sounds romantic, silvery moon. I like it,
Okay, the seventh item concerns the existing sign that's on this southeast corner. If you look at the existing elevations, you see that it's sort of sandwiched between the upper window that we're removing and the existing standing seam roof. And when we remove the window, if we left it where it's currently located, we feel that it would be too bottom heavy. So if we raise it up a bit and kind of center it on the stucco surface, it would look better. So that's item number 7. And item number 8 is, if you look at the existing elevations, there's currently a sign over this central entry door that we're going to remove because it's really not serving any purpose. So we're actually reducing the number of signs on the building.
There's 9.
There's a 9, yeah.
9? Guess. Okay, it's a test. The fascia, the top fascia.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
changing that to a simple band.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, that was wishful thinking.
What was that last design?
No, I think,
I'm in favor
no.
of it.
That was
Yes.
good.
It's
Yeah.
removing the dental molding. Yeah, that was one of our early design suggestions that
It's a
I've talked about it.
good one. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a nice clean one.
I like it.
Have to show them.
Okay.
So is it an official number 9?
Thanks.
Gina, is it an official number 9? Remove that or?
I guess so.
Okay. Great. Comments? I mean, I've been there, I saw it, and you guys do a great job. You walked through this.
It
but-
looks great.
Okay.
Are you all concerned that there's no identification of the building on Post Road? I like the way it looks, to remove that, but there's
2 very large trees right now that you don't even see that sign.
Okay.
And,
What-
and the only place you will see it maybe is when the buildings across the street are completed. And then somebody in that office building, right across the street from the sports shop where David Genovese's final phase is, I think they'll be able to look across the street and see the name of the store.
What about coming from the west side?
There's a big sign over the
That
side of the
stays.
fountain.
That stays there, okay.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Question then.
All
also-
redone though, but in a halo, right?
Yeah, question on the moving the Darien Sports Shop sign up, which I think it's well positioned. Is there any sort of lighting that would be used on that?
I think no, I mean, everything
Currently
is
there's
lit
not,
from the
right?
ground.
Yeah.
So everything, all the signage will be redone and we would like to propose halo lighting.
Backlit sign?
Yeah, isn't that what
So
halo
that's
is?
the lettering? Yeah, well, the letters themselves would have a soft little just behind them, right? That's the other, right?
So we have to redo all the signs on the building.
Okay. And that's
Yeah, on the electrical.
something that wasn't in my narrative that Gina would like to do, is to replace all the signs with backlit signs.
I don't have an issue with it being halo, because it's a gentle glow.
Yeah, oh, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better than having actually something that's mounted on the facade.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I need my interpreter to break down something for me there.
That's okay.
Hey, you know, and Greg, Neil, I have one comment. We looked at the building across from the street, and we talked about this far east wall. And there's this tree there, this tree that's been there forever. And it's first, I was looking at this again. We never talked about it at the time. You guys ever think about replacing it? Because you're doing this whole upgrade to make it look modern. That tree feels like dated.
We're gonna have to do a lot of the landscaping. So even the big wall where the window's getting filled in, that has some dated landscaping as well.
So you're gonna do a landscaping, but it's later on here.
Do that,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, like because it looks so fresh, and I go back to that plant. That plant looks so sad. It looks like Dr. Seuss.
Probably, it's probably something my father.
Yeah,
I think it's ivy.
Right. This poor thing. It's like
Oh, it's an Atlas cedar.
It is, and
Yeah.
it's designed to not get larger,
Yeah.
so it would always stay in that spot.
Sure, you could find another home for it on the site.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm hating on it, I feel bad.
I'm gonna take down the pin oak, I was like.
No. Okay, any other comments, guys?
What about the road sign, the number on the street? Someone bring that up again.
Oh, great, yeah, is there a number?
Sean Brown has a
I know,
success
I
rate.
saw
Yeah.
it here, I
Yeah.
thought maybe someone.
Is there address you guys are putting on?
There is one. Maybe that's where.
Well, this is for UPS people that have to deliver something, and they don't know the name of the store, and they have an address, so he won't miss it.
It's four numbers. Would you have to say the numbers and the street?
No, just
No,
numbers.
just the numbers.
Just numbers.
I think you can just go on the door.
Yeah, the numbers.
On the door.
Door, or do it.
It would just
A
be
little
off.
sticky thing on the door.
It can just be vinyl on the door as
Yeah,
well.
little
like
vinyl on the door.
Oh, on the
The
bottom?
front door and the
On the
entry,
dash.
yeah.
We got it.
We can get that done this week.
We'll do that tomorrow.
I'm
I
sure
do
all
have one little thing, I have to say, I really like your updates and everything.
emergency person wants to look at a number quick for the ambulance, and they'll look at the door.
Okay.
It's
So you're
a
thinking
vinyl
the main
number.
entry off the parking lot?
Probably put it on both,
Yeah.
parking lot and post
Well,
road.
I'm not
Good
talking
idea.
about anything like this.
Yeah.
What other comment, guys?
I have one last one. I love the presentation, and I'm happy about the colors and everything else. I think it's great. I think the only thing that kind of made me go back, because I was like, oh, this looks really chic and cool and modern, was the light. I think the light didn't the lights didn't really
The fixtures.
they were, I feel like there's something maybe better that you guys might want to look at. They're not,
I like,
you like them?
yeah, Harvard and Ford, you're very.
All right, okay, so
Very-
they're split ARB.
They're really
There you
nicely
go.
made too.
Yeah,
You
they're
see
well
the
made,
quality.
yeah.
All right, well, this person
I
has
had something black.
I'm with you,
I
too.
thought something black finish.
Or even like a
Well, the
bluish
coastal
one.
furnish, I mean, yeah, with the finish, like if it were more matching the
The
roof or
ceiling, or
something,
the
or,
roof, yeah.
Darker, they do make a darker finish.
yeah, they have like bronze,
Yeah.
some bronze.
I mean, with all the gray, maybe
Dark
like a
smoke.
brushed bronze would add a
Dark
little.
smoke.
Oh, they have a
to it,
coastal
right?
black too. So,
Coastal black.
there we go.
Switch it to coastal black?
Yeah, because like the windows are those
The
black,
storefront.
are those
Yes,
black
very,
lines on the
very
windows,
dark.
so that could kind of all work together, do you think?
Black, what was the other color?
They have a
Dark
coastal
smoke.
black and a coastal dark smoke.
Let me just say whatever matches
The building though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remind me where those are going to go. You said you're taking out carriage.
Right, so
Cinderella.
they flank each of the two doors
Oh, there.
on the
Got it,
post.
got it, okay. I was thinking something larger, okay.
I have no support.
Actually,
personal
sorry.
preference.
I think they do make a taller version of this.
They usually have three
No, I'm
spots.
Yeah.
I think it might support something a little larger.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree, yeah.
Yeah. Black and a little larger, they
Yes.
make a larger
They
version.
make a, they
I
make
think
a
it'll be a
larger.
little bit more substantial.
Well, I'll leave that.
Great, guys.
Any chance that we could get them gaslit?
Ooh, Gina, put some money out there.
Greg?
We like spending other.
While we're at it.
That would be
You know, they
amazing.
can do LEDs
That look like gaslight.
and reduce your carbon.
Oh,
Yeah.
good job, Dave.
You know, we're heavy into the carbon footprint in my current jobs.
That's awesome.
It's really front and center.
That is everything.
Something to think about. Maybe some LED.
Favorable report.
Thank you guys, yeah, favorable report.
Thank you.
I really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. It's good to see you.
Thank
I
you
like
very
the
much.
Flip-O-Rama aspect. Does anybody read Dogman books?
No.
The the guy who wrote Captain Underpants has this series called.
Oh, no.
And they have these Flip-O-Ramas where you like flip a
Oh
page
yes,
and it
I'm
has
very,
the action.
really into Dogman.
What's the name?
All right, Federal Realty. Last but not least, let's go get these guys. Federal Realty, come on up. Don't be shy. You've never been shy before. Right? Isn't that all? Is it right? All you guys? Are you Federal?
Well, we've
It
got.
is, yeah, I think there's a couple items in front of you.
Okay, so let's go first. On the agenda is 31, 22, but can we go back first to number 25 from last week to show the new
Sure.
template?
Yes.
So we can wrap that up.
Is that that's the blue?
That's the blue
yeah.
template that slipped in there that we were like, what?
Where's 29?
Really is the noise that was made. It's recorded on the TV.
It's the
That's
human,
official.
it's a human screeching sound, right? Is it the,
So can you introduce yourself for the record? And
absolutely. Patrick McMahon with Federal Realty Investment Trust. Thank you for the opportunity to come back to you. I apologize. I had a live event 2 weeks ago, so I couldn't be here. So appreciate the opportunity to come back. As I understand, and Chair Liz and Hervé, correct me if I'm wrong, as I understand, there's a question on the actual template, how often that gets applied, as well as the actual material. I brought some samples. I brought the actual blue sample that we are proposing for your consideration tonight. So, am I?
That's great. Yep, that's what we want to look at.
Okay.
Our struggles, we did see a physical sample, and we also have been struggling because we're seeing these in piecemeal where we've got to whited out tops of these buildings and then a new template on the bottom, and we're not getting a sense for how all these elements are coming together.
Are actually working with one another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got packages here. I don't know what you've looked at, what you received last week.
So does that package have the new palette, has a fifth palette added to it?
So it does,
Okay,
and to be sure, the actual palette itself, the actual palette itself that we're asking or petitioning for your consideration here is to be used once and once only for a very specific tenant.
Why is that?
And it's called, the manufacturer, and the manufacturer's actual color palette calls this azure blue, but it looks probably like navy or like royal blue. So I'll pass this around. This indeed is the color as well as the finish. So it is a matte finish. It's not a high gloss. It's a matte finish. As I'm passing that around, if we want to start, I want to say it's on page 5. That's correct. So if we want to start on,
Mine are cut off, yeah, unfortunately.
So they're cut off because they actually they run large. But if you want to start on page 4, 4 is probably the best page to start on, and then that way I can orient you.
Okay.
So if you want to look down at the bottom right, the legend, you'll see the outlines of our development buildings. I'd say proposed, but they're under construction. This particular storefront that we're talking about is in the building labeled R3, which is in the L configuration, and very specifically along the facade that is in red on the bottom. And that face is internal to the site. The top right, to orient you, the top right box, which is grayed out, is Equinox. Next to that is Walgreens. So the L building comes down to Heights. Mm-hmm. And on the end is the proposed Seymour space, which you'll hear in just a bit. So if you look, that is elevation G and elevation H. If you look above that small little key, you'll see elevation G and elevation H. Far to the left, again, is Seymour's. That fronts on Heights. All the way to the right is elevation H, and you can see the blue that we've added, which sits below a facade that's is actually real laid up brick.
Here's one thing that's killing me though, Patrick, is there above the H, I see it, right?
Yep.
But we couldn't get a picture last time because above it is this grayed out. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like it's muted out. It's the second and third stories.
One of the things we want to be able to do is really look at that relationship between what these storefronts now are, especially now introducing a fifth color palette, with how they interact with the residential colors and textures above. That now we can actually go out and see, ourselves, and then kind of help understand what this would all actually look like.
Okay. And Hervé actually mentioned that as well. Okay.
Yeah, that's our struggle was last time. We still can't, without seeing that, we're like, it's like, we're kind of still at a standoff.
Yeah, because we don't
You know?
know these colors.
Yeah.
We don't really get the whole context of the building.
Okay.
We're just looking at the retail storefront, not the entire building.
I know previously there have been some really fantastic perspective renderings
Mhm.
that I think were built on this model that might also
Correct.
help in us, acting like we're standing there in the street and seeing each of these storefronts and how they play together and that relationship again between retail storefronts and residential, colors and textures and design above.
Okay.
So maybe it's just cutting a couple of those color renderings and sending them over just so that we can see how this all goes together.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause the
Which
palette-
is easy to do.
It seems like like an easy enough palette. Seems good. The material seems, the quality seems there. Like you guys keep bringing, and that was beautiful. But it just again, that last element, seeing that last printout.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't want to hold you up. I know you guys want to keep moving, but
We
can
do.
you
And
somehow. I mean,
we can drop. Yep. We can drop them into the renderings. Everybody asked to do that. Our render has been out on vacation. So,
Oh, okay.
Back. I actually think tomorrow. So we can easily do that.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're asking. I totally
Right.
get it. There's no. And I understand it entirely.
Yeah.
As a side,
Does it?
scenario, like just to, I actually don't mind the color, but if it's the color that we're struggling about, would you ever consider just even mocking up, just doing the door, like the door being that color and then the surrounding areas?
I'm worried about that, but because I'm worried about sweet green next to it. Looks like it's the same blue, so it kind of works here. But that sweet green is a very light green, and it's not coming through on these renderings.
So if you go to, I think it's page 6.
Yeah.
So we did blow this up. Of course, now we didn't even gray out what's above. We just took it off.
Yeah.
So less helpful vertically, but horizontally, this is actually a much more accurate representation. The white on the left is actually showing up very poorly here. That indeed is the white. So
Oh,
that
it's a lot
that
less
too
creamy.
Yeah, it's cream.
that too is a matte finish. But that is a sweet green palette. It is a green, so that's showing up a little bit off in these images as well.
It's
but
more of
that's-
a Kelly green.
It's correct.
Yeah, it's a green.
Yeah, it's not so much a light green, but it's more of a Kelly green, and that is white brick.
Right.
And this would be so this facade we originally had is the white metal panel all the way across. So we liked the idea of a color change, given obviously that it would vary.
Yes, if you pass those all around,
You're
Alex.
proposing that this is really up against that, right?
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
up next, I mean, that looks sharp.
Yeah, that's
And on the other side of this is going to be a
White
white brick. And that looks,
With a green door.
But then
Yeah,
what's the
but it-
color
you
of the
know-
rest of the building?
So-
Above.
oh,
Yes.
that part we don't know.
That part you don't know.
Yeah.
Do
We
I
don't
see
know
this?
because we haven't
Yes.
showed you.
Would you?
And can you give me the spelling of your last name, please?
Sure, McMahon, McMahon.
Just out of curiosity, why was this one, I guess specific
Sure.
tenant that wants the blue or?
Correct. So, and Liz asked this as well. So it's a specific tenant that has requested the blue. It is on brand for them.
Oh, yeah.
And we've wanted to, typically when we can, like with Sweet Green and with Seymour's, we've wanted to really work with their design to the extent possible. And so for them, it was just a matter of a color change. They actually liked the fenestration, they liked the metal panel, they wanted the color to be emblematic of their brand.
I like the.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the blue.
So are you guys okay with it without seeing the rendering in its full effect?
No, I think I'd still like to see the whole
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
So I imagine it'll come back
But
to the
I-
sign.
But I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Okay.
Possibly.
So is there?
We're working on it.
Yeah.
If there is no.
We don't have them all tied up
move
yet.
Forward,
Got
is
it.
there probably going to order this?
So if they're not all tied up, would you still do
Make
it?
it blue?
Yeah.
I mean, is that just?
We would.
Okay.
We actually think it's a great design.
So
Throw a
Patrick,
little random element.
it sounds like the board's in
Thank you very
favor of this additional palette for this single building to start, but with the condition that we see a full rendering.
Got it.
Hopefully that can be,
Yes, add a
please.
comment to this?
Yes.
Certainly.
I'm assuming this is going to be just an outlier and that you won't come back in a couple of months and say, oh, we have another tenant.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. This is, we've worked with this tenant before in other locations. We've got a deep relationship with them, so we're working on them here as well. The other tenants are simply going to time out. we need
Being
to be able to put a
sure
facade on the
yeah,
building,
yeah.
so, but that's correct. We will not, I won't be back here in a
So you mean
month, or actually in September rather, saying,
right.
oh, but I got another one.
Yeah.
So you mean the Dijon mustard? The Dijon mustard is not doing
Correct,
mustard color?
yeah.
For their brand? No.
They might have a little, something little in the sign, but that's it.
So, what is the color?
If it helps at all, if it, just to talk through this, if it helps at all, just visually, we'll get
Can
the,
you introduce your name again?
Julie Brock.
Julie Brock, B-R-O-C-K. If it helps at all, there is flanking, above Sweet Green is clapboard, that the color is cobblestone, and that's also above the Seymour space. So that's flanking, and then it's varying red brick between.
Is it,
So,
is it a painted brick like this?
No,
it
it's
is not
it's
painted.
Real brick?
It's real
Yes.
brick.
Okay, so it's not, okay.
Yeah,
It's real brick, real laid up brick too. It's not
Yeah.
thin, it's not thin brick.
That's
It's
what
just
they
not
use
right
as
color.
digital
exactly.
designs?
So that's in between the two flanking ends of, they call it cobblestone clapboard. So cobblestone is the color. It's like a gray, kind of taupey color. Okay,
Okay,
if that helps at all, but we'll do that.
okay. Can you check when you send that PDF too, that the sweet green color is accurate?
Yes. As well, I'll make sure that the actual adjacent white is
Yeah,
not
it's
showing
not
up as
like champagne color.
yes, champagne cream is what that looks like to me.
Okay. Okay, so we'll look for those PS.
But, yeah.
Thank you. And
If they're
he
digital-
did,
yeah.
Hervé actually did communicate that. to
Yeah,
me.
I
Our
agree
renderer
with
was
that, yeah.
out. So
So the problem with always with rendering is when you print them, the color Xerox doesn't
Right.
always look like the rendering you see on digitally. So I think you can all get it digitally,
Yeah.
as close as possible digitally, so we're not relying on paper and a copier that doesn't pick up all
that doesn't pick up the pigment correctly. I
And we can
agree.
send like precedent images of Sweet Green, so you can, that'll give you like photographs of existing, so you'll see the green.
Yeah,
So that's right. Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's a good
That's
idea.
probably smarter.
okay, great. All right, let's move on.
Can I just ask one question?
Yes.
We're just discussing it. If this tenant decides to bail, right, in 2 years, that color is pretty extreme. Like, what would be the plan if that tenant is gone? Because it doesn't look like, we were just talking, I was like, it doesn't look like something that's easily changed or painted.
So that's a great question, because you're right. That's the honest answer. So there are a couple of things. It is a distinct color that was probably on brand for a handful of tenants.
Right.
And to think that we would get one is less than 5%.
Right.
So we'll rule that out. Ultimately, we would very likely, I don't think, repaint this. You could. I think we would literally strip the facade off and come back to you for approval for whatever tenant takes the space, which is, we typically do that. We don't typically see tenants leave after 2 years, but we do typically take, facades to us, we want to evolve over time to be evocative of the brands that take the space as well as the time in which they take it. You know, the materials change over time. So it is something that we typically budget for appropriately when we've got a new tenant.
So I would say if it was me, that if you decide to move forward, if the board decides to move forward with this grant, that there's a stipulation in that if this tenant does pull out, that it is replaced, not painted. Because I think that it would look shoddy.
It was painted. Yeah, I would think you guys wouldn't like that, but
I think that would be the stipulation in that.
it's a good idea. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we would want to paint it. It doesn't
I like
look.
that.
But you guys might not be here. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't think you
yeah,
are,
yeah.
but
True.
like,
Good
let's,
point.
Yep.
if
Good
it's a
point.
larger,
We get hit by a bus.
high above,
Good point,
let's
good point.
put that
Yeah.
in there.
Indeed.
Okay, I like that.
Good idea.
Thank
All
you.
right.
And I'll send that quickly.
Cool.
And this is a super strong tenant, like the turnaround in 2 years is not
Yeah.
like,
I work for a very strong
things
tenant
happen.
too, and
Yes,
things
exactly.
happen. So, like,
Things happen.
Yeah.
It's just
Ralph
it's a
Lauren.
tenant
Oh.
vision.
It's a very
All
strong
right.
tenant.
Let's talk Seymour's, number 31 here on the agenda.
Good evening, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Good.
you guys have the, yeah, looks like you do. I'm Jay Wainwright, I'm the owner and manager of Seymour, and this is Craig Eshin, who is helping build the Darien location.
What's your name, sir? Sorry?
Craig Eishin, it's spelled Eischem.
So Seymour's, I don't know if you're familiar, it's a neighborhood restaurant in the city. We've got a few of them in Manhattan and one in Dumbo. We don't have any outside the city at this point, so this is a big deal for us. Our goal is to create a neighborhood spot that's fun, beachy, yet sophisticated for families, for kind of the whole community. Fish tacos, lobster rolls, healthy, indulgent, not only seafood, but mostly seafood. And our passion is sustainability, ocean health. Our underlying thesis, if you ever want to go look at our website, is how do we create a supply chain that is sustainable, meaning it lasts. And the way that the oceans are being fished right now, it doesn't work. So it's fun and sophisticated, but it really has a core underneath it. That
So you use our local fishermen to supply you guys?
Oh yeah. Our local city, you don't want me to get into that at this hour.
Just clarify to make sure.
Trust me, it's getting late. But,
it's a big sell right there.
I can talk about that a lot. Yes, okay. Local fish, local oysters, local, we have a very local supply chain. Okay. I think maybe the best place to start, I'm not
We're familiar with it. I don't think you should save time to recap everything. Go your top points. What are your strong takeaways here?
I'm sort of looking at this page.
Okay.
Our goal is to create a really fun, inviting, that is sophisticated and kind of in keeping with the neighborhood that Federal's creating here. And all of our restaurants in New York are different and sort of bespoke to the neighborhood they're in. And we have one on the Upper East Side that we opened this winter that, Seymour was originally a downtown brand, and it's gotten a little bit more sophisticated in its application, and it's really worked well. So we took that and really applied it here in Darien. So inviting and fun and beachy, but a little bit sophisticated, I guess is the best way for me to describe it. Craig is going to go over the specific materials. So I'll let him take it from here.
So I wanted to just kind of walk through on the renderings that you're looking at, the materials on the outside. It starts with the stone, which is kind of the base material. This goes under a lot of the windows and kind of becomes the foundation for everything else that gets built above that. Sure.
Just the texture with concrete base?
Yes, the concrete base, correct. So then above that is the EPIS system, like a dry vit or a stow. And that's been detailed a little bit between the columns, just with the differentiation and depths that we're working with. It's primarily the white color here. If you want to pass that around, look at that. There is a little bit of the turquoise, which ends up on the end where we have some of the logo space and some signage. The balance of the elevations are comprised of like a Cournier storefront, so aluminum white, painted white. I don't know, did you get copies as a part of your materials? Like some of these, or should I pass these around also? Yeah, sure. Okay. So that's primarily the storefront with the windows and the bifold door.
And so to quickly to interrupt, Craig,
Do you have more copies? Because I don't think that was in my package.
Yeah, these are all different materials here.
Oh,
so as I talked about them,
I got it. The window that is opening in the middle is actually the bar, and so you'll be able to sit at that window will open up, and you'll be sitting at the bar from the patio right there. It's a really cool design.
I'm sorry, what's the material, the exact material you're using for the wall?
It's the dry vit.
So this looks like a very permeable,
It is not, I would caution against putting that as low as you're putting it.
Okay.
It's usually a material that's put up at least, 4 feet above, 6 feet above, 8 feet above, because it is very fragile to touch.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's the larger areas, it's between a lot of the windows. The larger areas are up high and on the far end over here. But I understand what you're saying with where the bar.
You've got a transaction window here. You
Right,
have
underneath
a lot of, it's a lot of traffic, it's a
On the
corner.
columns as well.
I think more traditional stucco would be.
I think,
Or wood paneling is stronger.
or even some kind of panelized
Yeah,
stone.
it looks like paneling in your
Panelized
renderings.
stone, I mean, just something that has a little bit more resiliency. You have a lot of traffic here.
There is a little. It's a little bit hard to see completely on that plan, but there are like some of these other areas as it goes off from the door. So here's the bar that you were mentioning. These are all like steps in landscaped areas, so it starts to step down.
Yeah, you can see it in the rendering. I mean,
Right.
Here, it really, nobody can get to it.
Right,
Touch it,
right.
But it's the rest of the.
So the more traffic there is.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
what's
it's just
below the bar counter,
below-
for example?
Yeah, I mean.
What is below that bar counter?
Yeah,
That's
that's
ethos.
currently the drive-in
Yeah.
material.
It's just, it's not gonna last.
Is that only if it's put over as an EFIS system? Because you can put this over like a cement board, or you can make the backing of it more robust.
My experience is just.
Okay, I'm just,
Yeah, it doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
I don't-
it doesn't
It's not
fit.
quality enough material for, you got a Keystone building at the corner of Darien and our best lot. Higher end, something higher end. Think about something else you guys could propose there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think especially for this, number 2 color, which is that little.
Right.
You also have the,
Water sitting on it from time to time. A little more exposed.
Okay. This is something more in the, where it's actually pedestrians are right up against it.
Something that can take a lot of traffic,
Okay.
panelized stone, GFRG, there's stuff out there that
Okay.
you can use on that storefront that'll stand that.
One of the bigger components too to the storefront are the awnings and the canopies. This is a sample of the fabric.
just to finish with the IFAS, you're also labeling the capitals of the column as IFAS. And that is, because I've been an architect for 30 years, this is something we always stayed away because they never quite get such sharp
Nice clean
edges
edge, yeah.
for trim detail. So you'd be probably price-wise very close to that. An AZAC would do a much better job in terms of durability, and then they can never get a nice, clean, sharp shadow with IFAS.
What is that? Sorry, the material, I don't know this.
AZAC is a synthetic type.
Right.
It matches wood, but it's a plastic type. But it's maintenance-free. Once it's on there, it's maintenance, you never have to worry about it.
And looks good.
It looks good, and it's used everywhere. It's much better than the
windows. No, it's the storefront, it's the doors and the windows. And the windows. Yeah.
Doors and windows.
So that's primarily the facade. I guess the only other item were the wall sconces that are on the facade.
With more on the fabric and the canopies, kind of the pattern of this stripe is accurate as far as what those dimensions are. It looks like this might be a little bit.
It might be
smaller,
slightly different, but it's kind of the same idea with the stripes.
Smaller is better. Yeah, it just feels different than what that is.
It's gonna get,
Right.
I mean, it's dirty, it's gonna get dirty.
Well, we have these awnings all over the place, and they're incredibly durable. I mean, this is not the first time we're using them. In terms of the size of the stripe, I don't know enough about whether they vary. But they do hold up well.
Thank you, Vanna.
This is the perimeter sconce that's shown on each of the columns. then the other light fixtures on the exterior were the string lights, which this, I believe, has been approved previously with the development.
Yeah, those are,
Consistent with-
those are the spec that I brought in.
Do you have that sheet, Julie, by chance, as a reference? The spec sheet that shows all the different outdoor string lighting
I
locations?
don't, no, I don't.
I usually carry that with me.
Yeah, I did not bring that one.
Okay.
And I guess the last component to the exterior is all of the furniture and planters. So I have the cut sheets on the banquette, which is the U-shaped section here, the tables, the chairs, the planters. Those are all of these cut sheets here.
This is the exterior banquette, it just says wood finish. I assume that's not gonna be like pressure treated, it'll be cedar or ipe.
Yeah, this is the cut sheet on
And that'll get cushions put on the seating.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same straight material as the.
Yeah.
That's what we actually like pre-built. What you just, it's different than this, right? So are you gonna go with a pre-built, or is this kind of something that's?
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be custom.
That looks like it's a custom piece, right? Is this the,
What are you talking about?
color that you're going about?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. It's not accurate to what the angle is, or is it accurate? Those details aren't portrayed in the drawings and the renderings. Looks like a flat back, but then it's angled in other areas.
Well, where your back goes is angled, but then behind it, the actual.
I guess the first question is, of the
Is it?
wood
Are you just
backends
interpreting
and
that, Dave, or
planters,
is
Oh,
it?
no, I'm
color of
I'm
the
looking at the
color
different
that
views.
you're going for, or is it lighter, like the render?
These are the cuts on the fingers.
Are the umbrellas going to be the same fabric as the awnings?
Yes.
I guess
So
that
those
was
are custom made?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the answer there, Dave?
They're not sure, so I guess we could comment on what we would prefer as far as the wood color and wood specific,
I personally like the lighter.
yeah, I would go with something lighter.
That other, the red, the other is too bright.
I agree with that.
Something that's closer to driftwood.
Yeah. Seems like the most common option for this.
Like a grayed out
custom
cedar or
built,
something.
yeah, cedar, yeah.
Although there's something to be said about the warmth of not it being grayed out, but
I don't
having.
think grade, I prefer it
Natural?
Like a natural, yeah, I mean, it's a nice juxtaposition to
contrast
to the
with the
white.
And the rendering
warm,
looks
the
great.
rendering.
Yeah, the rendering.
Yeah, exactly. This is the look and feel that we
Nice
should.
clear
But
cedar,
not-
something that's not, you know, it is 1020, I'm always in awe of that quality of that cedar that they did there.
It requires some maintenance to keep the power in front. That's just part of it.
Do you have anything about the floor treatment?
What?
The surface treatment, do you have anything to show?
That's part of the development, I believe, is the,
Julie?
I do, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
The exact treatment in front of Seymour, is it part of Seymour, or is it part of your,
Part of base building. It's poured concrete.
because on the rendering, it shows this, I'm gonna use syncopated ribbon of gray and white.
It's pretty in the rendering.
It's cool in the rendering, but is it really what's happening?
I brought, so this was kind of my, you were wanting pavers and sort of a landscape paver plan, so that's this. And I didn't bring the poured concrete, but I'll pass these and let you guys take them. But it breaks through with paving and the poured concrete, and there's some bluestone mentioned on there. And I did bring the gray and the two paver options. That are there, but now in front of theirs, though, I think is just concrete. So
So the unilock.
Okay.
it's the,
Oh.
Yeah, that's not.
And you guys, these are currently installed at and around Equinox and Walgreens
Yeah.
both.
They look nice.
So if you guys want to see any of those, there's like a band of a satin finish chrome like Schluter strip that goes around all of the landscaping beds and
And the bollards, yes.
the bollards, yes.
Loves the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
We love the bollards.
They're fun bollards, actually.
So the.
I got one other question on the windows. I personally always like the 2/2 pattern. This to me feels like the width of the windows. That pattern makes it feel a little bit busy, and it looks like you've matched that dimension at the bar area, which again feels like it's a little bit cluttered. Looks like some of these windows don't have 2/2, it's 1/2.
Well, Dave, even more so on that, and the depiction says that the finish and style of the windows is all TBD by tenant. So is nothing you've sent here exact? Does it all be changed of these windows?
It's going to follow the Cournier, the storefront.
Sorry to cut you off, Dave. I just wanted to make sure that was noted when we were talking about windows. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a valid point. I noticed that note as well, but I think, like you said, when you pass around that spec sheet for the Cournier, I think that kind of specified what the actual window material will be. But again, looking at this elevation, part of what my next question would be, which was similar to our conversation prior to this, was we really need this rendering and elevation with the residential actual brick rendering above, and also to see the relationship between what those windows are and the ones below. And does it make sense because window dimensions and window patterns are similar, or might you charge just a 1/1 or a 1/2 to maybe see if it's a little less busy? I know
A 1/2 is a pane in the middle on the bottom and none on the top?
Yeah, so one mullion on the bottom and none on the top. One corner here has that. I don't know whether it was just kind of a
I think that was
discrepancy in the
just
drawings
yeah,
or what.
yeah.
It looks like on your other location, you have, you have 2/2 here, so I guess that's maybe why you picked it. Again, in most scenarios like that, but just based on the width of the window, it seems like it's a little bit cramped.
Yeah, we looked at it both ways, honestly, and we thought this looked more kind of homey and nice.
Do you know, so I guess with that, these mullions, are they between the glass, are they true divided lights, meaning they're applied over the glass, because that would make a difference on their visual impact. If they're in between the glass, they have less of a visual impact. If they're more, they feel a little bit thicker. Do you know whether that's in the specification for the windows?
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't know that we've gotten that far with the, because this rendering could look a little bit different than the visual impact of those mullions.
I mean, if there's more
Less
depth
than
on
what it
this.
is.
Okay. Which do you prefer?
Well, unless everyone feels differently, to me it feels a little bit cluttered with that many mullions.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But, I mean.
And I don't know if without them would look better. That might look.
I mean, it would look a little stark. I mean, I've seen it. It's not. It's easy to do both ways.
Maybe it's just a bar area, but I guess you're gonna have that open when you're actually sitting there, so that would be less.
Well, it looked really cool when it's open for sure, but obviously we have to make it look all year round.
Also, I guess with these storefront doors, is there a way to maybe follow that pattern as well? Because these are just all open without any mullions.
Yeah, I mean, I think French doors and windows have different designs. I don't think that would look. I don't think you want to put more panes on the doors, do you?
Oh, I got you, okay.
Well, I mean, it's like a farmhouse where this style lives a lot of the time. You'll see that front door, if you get the glass door, you have a similar mullion pattern on the front door itself, but that's not a big issue for me. I guess a couple other points.
Well, it's just, we can get you this both ways. I mean, how does it? I'm
So I guess number one will be, let us know what the actual design of these awnings are.
Yeah.
Between the glass and therefore less visual impact or over the glass. And if this model needs to be adjusted a little bit to kind of reflect a little bit of a different dimension, then maybe that would make sense because it would show us kind of a more true representation of what these would look like when they're actually up. So that would be my comment for the windows. I don't know whether anybody else feels like we should look at, the windows without them. Like we were speaking about before, I think a decision should be made on the actual wood type for the planters and the benches, because it's a pretty prominent feature on the exterior.
I would say also just upgrade the renderings itself. That's not the floor. That's how it's going to be. Make it look accurate. And the same with the awnings. That stripe is not the same as what you showed to us. So just make some changes to the renderings so that they really reflect what you plan to do.
Well, if you actually can go there, I mean, the renderings are really pretty and fun.
Yeah.
But they're not all accurate to what we're actually seeing. I feel like there's an interior designer that did these renderings, and Federal Realty has got their plan that exists on the outside, and the two guys never talked. And I don't see it, so I see what you guys, the vision you have, but I don't think in reality that exists. So,
agreed.
And there are so many great things here that I love. Like, I think you guys are doing great ideas here. I just don't think they're really going to come through. And when this comes to, but it's hard to even tell and make that judgment because we don't know what the windows are going to be. A mural they're proposing, we don't see. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like, and I'm probably not going to be a fan of mural, but you might surprise me. The tree, like, I can't see how the trees are reflecting this building. You're showing like a storefront. Most of it might be blocked with trees, but I don't know. And like, yeah, the paving's done, and the main thing that kills me is we kind of made this mistake before when we looked at Federal. The view you're showing us of the front is right at street is right at level, sidewalk level. When everyone's seeing this, is going to be about 10 feet down, and it's been a huge problem for everyone in Darien. They feel like this structure is just overwhelming. No one's happy about it. So we have to look at renderings to show how that depicts how we're going to visually get up to what you guys are presenting, right? Like, instead of just a white wall there, it's not white, right? I think it's going to be probably, hopefully a stone. Federal's doing a beautiful stone base there. You've got some corner pillars at your outside terrace here. They're not marked what the material is going to be, but like we need to see what that material is, in, as well. If it is a stone, not a stone.
It's a stone base there. Yeah.
These cement corners.
Sorry.
They're not labeled on the drawing. These little cement corners.
I can't speak to the piers, but I know that the wall connecting them they've already put a lot of the veneer on that.
Right. The plantings here, like you've got boxes here, but I don't know where they're going. In some places they're overlapping with a tree bed. The boxes are sitting on a tree bed. And I think that's part of Federal Realty's design and your design. So a lot of great, I don't take away and say that. I think if I saw them, this is beautiful. I'm loving it. I love where you're going. It really could fit in Darien great. Besides, by the way, that stucco wall siding, something higher end. But I think the renderings, I don't know, they gotta be accurate. We gotta start.
Be more contextual and correct to see the whole
partly,
content.
incorporating the stone finish that you have on this foundation wall, which was a question I had, and then I realized that stone finish is being put in right now. And then again, put your model on top of this, which is the actual residential, just to give us a way to evaluate how this fits in with the rest of the common product. Again, I don't want to only critique here. I think I'm excited, number one, for you guys to be in town. And I think
that's a good point.
Is
very excited. Let's start with that. We're very excited to have you guys.
And you guys, I'm not to interrupt you, but I think there's a big emphasis of stripping away a lot of the noise of things and just showing the retail part, showing the component of that from, but we get it, you guys are needing a bigger picture, more context, but I think there was kind of a point of strip away everything, show what we're presenting, what ours is gonna look like.
Julia,
and
either way, it's
do
not
both
accurate.
and.
It's not accurate.
Yeah.
So it's not contextual. It needs to be accurate.
But you can do both, right? You can have one piece that is just focused on the retail and then show it to us in the context of the campus.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. And can Federal, I don't know if you guys are talking to Federal, do you have a guy at Federal who's doing your mock-ups that can literally sit down with you guys and talk about how these two are intersecting? Because I feel like there might be some clashes. Like I said, even like planters sitting on a tree bed, right? I mean, in the end, you guys are going to do that. So that's a simple communication, right?
Yeah, no, the store being this here is clearly not that. I mean, it's going up now for stone. There's no doubt about it. And the back of the building is red. Same thing you guys talked about the last guy. That is our overlay on theirs. It needs to be better in how we communicate. I mean, I definitely hear that, and so we just got to figure out how to get the two together. The views from the different looks, we can just figure that out.
Yeah, let's see a view down. I mean, this one here is very critical, and it's coming here, and it needs to be, we're looking up. Right, cars are down here, the cars are 10 feet lower. I think that's important.
But that's where you want to see more.
So
you want to see more from down there.
Yeah, I want to see from the lower perspective. And to help, so we put this together probably, because I think we missed this last time, not realizing that there was a 15-foot drop that it wasn't noticed until we started reconstruction here.
I think if you took the point of view as a pedestrian on the sidewalk at the lower level, looking up at the building, what does that feel like?
Kind of as you're walking up that grand stair right there.
No, but even farther away, if you're walking along the sidewalk there, what do you see? You know, what is that imposing feeling, and how is that landscape being treated? What does that, deck feel like above? Because you're going to be looking at it from above at that point.
Yeah.
So
I also might.
I have a pretty tricky question for Patrick, and for Seymour. When I look at the structure of the building, I can see the relationship between some of the steel and some of the major pilasters or column right in the front, but not all of them. Now, right now, these elevations are based on what to take Mr. Humphrey's comments before. There's a group of 5 windows between these columns, these 2 main columns and one in the middle. There is no real reason for that middle column to be where it is. There could be a slightly different amount of beef or solid around the 2 that have steel. And instead of 5 windows, you could go to 4 windows. I used to do this for a living, so you could do 4 windows and 4 windows and have a little more width. And then I looked at elevation, elevation G and F of the previous package that Patrick showed us. And then right above, you can see the windows in the relationship and the scale, to your point. The scale of the windows that are above is going to visually relate to the scale of the storefront. And right now, the storefront, as Mr. Humphrey was pointing out, feels very squished. It's squished because there is a choice to be made with 5 subdivision for windows instead of 4. If you went to 4, you'd be more in scale with the glass that's located right above you. So if you look at the relationship between these elevations, I know that sometimes we only see the bottom part, but if you were to look at that, you can see how the glass of the windows above, same for the corner building, you have a relationship with the frame and the amount of glass that could be carried down, but you'd have to change some of the rhythm. And why have 5 subdivision instead of 4? And then you get more inches per glass each time. Did everybody understand what I was talking about?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Those columns can move.
So the column that's in the middle is not structural. So there's some flexibility there. You could actually have 2. Like if you look at the far left side, which has the logo with the fish and the half thing. Well, again, if you look at elevation F, which is located above in Patrick's drawing, there's only the edges of these 2 frescoes or things, that murals is where the structure is. But in between, there is actually no need for that extra column. It's just visually there, and it's good because it just falls in between windows. But there are relationships that you can. We actually, Patrick and I talked about this during our meeting. Is to somehow maybe find ways to carry a little bit more what's happening above down to the base, and then frame some of the retail with, sometimes the brick could come down, and maybe that corner of Seymour, which is white in your rendering, could be the brick, or whatever it is. It's not brick above, sorry. It's a board, but it could be a continuous reading of something that just kind of clips the corner, right? Like I'm big on bookends, but this is like one of your bookends here. So that's something that I think we should all think about in terms of scale and relationship. This project is very complex in that because you get this horizontal retail need for large glass, and then suddenly we go from, and when you look at the context of the rest of the glass, then you really squeeze, and again, to David's point, you get to see more, and then look at elevation G, you go from large 4-footers to 3 to 2 to like a 1.5 foot. So it's a beautiful design in itself, but in context, I think it just needs to look at the scale of this whole project.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it won't take away from the looks.
What we're trying not to do with the windows is make it look like a midtown office building.
Correct.
I
understand that.
You know,
It's a fair point.
so it's home. It's windows that open up. The idea at the bar is it looks like it's a window that would be in your home, and so.
Well, except they come to the ground, and the bottom of them is going to have to be tempered, but that's their.
But that was the design intent, you know, and so it is. When I look at the windows above, I hear you, and you are totally right that there is tons of flexibility within here because there's not that many columns. Right. There's only one right there.
Yeah.
There are two.
There's a grand total of 3 in the front facing Hyde Street.
Now it does. The windows outside do relate to the layout inside, so it's not quite as simple as we're all making it. There's different rooms in there that we've designed that obviously sync up with the windows. So
I agree. Look at the bar ones. I think they do get a little almost like too like maybe the sizing could be. They get a little too squished. Like I think the idea of the windows is neat. I like what you're doing. The change it again. Need to see like the drawings also include the top and bottom. But I think the bar ones when you look at this larger. I'm going back now to federal. This is like the communication between like what your architects are doing. You guys and federal. They get so tight. And you guys might not be looking at this one. That's the difference.
No, I hear that.
And it's not your job to, but it's our job to. So, and by the way, like this is great. So the reason why you guys are like the cornerstone building for this great development we love. So, you know, in this feedback we're giving you, not to be critical, jump on it. We just really want to be successful. It's going to state the like the feel for our town where you are. So it's really important that we get it right. It sounds like you guys want to get it right. I think it's going to be extremely successful. So please don't be turned off that we're like. Really drilling you guys to come back and be.
Some of the stuff we went through and chose design-wise what we're putting here because we think it looks better. Obviously, that doesn't mean the renderings are where they need to be. So you know, and in terms of the size and scale of the windows, we thought about that a lot, and the way that they marry on the left-hand side over the bar, and then as they go around the corner, was thoughtfully intended. Now, the mullions, we definitely went back and forth on whether to have mullions at all or not. I like the mullions, but we could be one of the designers. He would happily take them out.
Right, that's personal preference.
Yeah, totally personal. You know, I'm not that. It's not that important to me. The size and scale of the windows compared to the windows upstairs, we could change them, and I just worry, like, how does the process work here? Because because it's easy for us to like kind of change the mullions, right? That's like.
I think if you come back with set rendering, like this is how it's going to be. Like these are the exact plants we're going to use, and these are the exact pots we're going to use, and this is the exact floor, and not like ideas like in the renderings it was still TBD by tenant. It's hard to get a sense of what's actually going to look like. What's this full picture? I think if you guys can come back with accurate renderings, we could probably have a more productive conversation and say, okay, these smaller windows do work. Now seeing it in a larger. Right?
Totally. No. We can do that for sure. The scale of the fabric being different on the drawing than what you see. That's just like.
That's pretty small.
That's pretty small,
but the windows is like the scale of windows being TBD, right? I still not sure if what the style, and it says.
The scale of windows is not TBD.
Style TBD by tenant, finish style TBD by tenant. I'd like to not see TBD, just provide. I'd like to see proposed. Tell me what you got. So I know if it's going to be the real thing or not.
Yeah.
And I like Dave had an interesting point about the door. I mean, that might be preference, but it sounds like you deliberately chose to go away from that same replication in the doors, right? The mullions, right?
Yeah.
There's something that might be preference. I guess.
Across anyway.
Well, I hear you on getting in the drawings, not having TBD on, but I'm trying to figure out how to come back most efficiently and taking your feedback into account so that there are fewer steps because from the getting through this is important for our building department, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
So here's what we would recommend.
yeah.
Come back with this accurately represented.
Uh-huh.
Come back with this updated with accurate information. And any studies you've done on making revisions to the rhythm of the windows. One or two options.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
One or two options. This is option A, and maybe there's a B and a C,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And have us look at it in context to what's happening above, and that's the coordination piece you have to do.
Yeah, no, I get that. The context is gotta get fixed. I totally understand.
So
What I want to do is also solve the design specifics of our design that you don't like. So we don't come back and
We want you to come back with a different material,
Yeah.
right? Don't bring back EFS.
anywhere.
Well,
That's what I'm trying to hear if that's
honestly, I think it shouldn't go anywhere.
okay. That's
Not in this prominent location.
Not at this height.
What was that?
Not at this height.
Well, but just not it's not the right material. for-
Keep recapping, you're on a roll, so come back, keep going.
So the
Please
building,
take over.
so the building, let's kind of almost eat this for a second. The building is red brick.
Yeah.
We were thinking about the ethos, and we were also looking at white brick.
White brick or panelized
That's nice.
stone or.
That's what I wanted, okay.
Or. I think
I
white
can see
brick
the
would be
base
good.
as like a panelized stone and then these large pilasters as paneled.
For G.
What is panelized,
Well,
stone?
like having
It's a-
stiles and
it's a-
rails and
Wood.
inset panel,
It's
you
a,
know.
yeah, it's a system.
Yeah.
It's a thin stone veneer, if you will.
And you can get them in any size.
Yeah. You can score it a different way.
Yeah.
You can have all of
Soldiered,
the.
staggered, all of that jazz.
There's
Yeah.
can't remember the name of the product, but there's one that I could recommend to you. There's a handful of
Okay.
companies
Yeah,
that
yeah.
make this. So come back with an alternate for that. I don't have an issue with it being white necessarily. I mean, it's a cool look and feel, but we want to see what that feels like with what the materials are above.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Oh, and any of the FF&E that you're proposing, if what you're proposing here is, and materials and finishes are it, tell us that today? Or-
They're it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the.
Because there
But
was
they're
a, there
not.
was
We
a,
don't have any, and that's fine, but, you know, exterior wood round table, wood finish, final product to be similar. Like, is this matching the planters? I assume it would, but let's, come back with what you would
Right.
propose for
Yeah.
that wood type. Just so we're clear, we're all on the same page, we can say, great.
And how does so the furniture that we have presented?
The idea,
The
yeah, it
other-
looks
the other
good,
metal-
it's easy to see
It's
what it is.
Yeah, specific.
Yeah.
Like, we want the.
Well, some of it is specific,
The
so
company.
the metal chair, the metal table, I think these are good, these are specific specs on what those actual products are. Adirondack chair that's somewhat similar, I assume that's a composite, but if
But
you
even-
know that.
but even that statement, Adirondack chair to be similar, there's a lot of different versions of an Adirondack chair.
This was the
Right.
sheet on the Adirondack chair.
So, like, which one is it?
That's
Is that-
Hollywood Nautical Adirondack chair.
So can you put that in the presentation, the exact chair, the color and type? And if you have samples, by the way, photos or physical samples of anything, great. It's great.
Yeah, it's good.
And then we can at least pick, and then once we see together, if there's something we don't like, maybe we can say, okay, let's sub out this thing, but you guys have picked everything, it's good.
Well, we have the furniture, the table, you're right, but the rest of the furniture is what is here.
It's here.
We've done it in another restaurant, so I hope you like it, and we'll keep it there.
Yeah,
And I hear you on the table that's not there. Yeah,
One other just minor point is these poles for the string lights. I don't know whether that's maybe done elsewhere. It would be good to know just what that material is. Is it aluminum pole?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I also, and I'm not sure if we can do this, or if you guys would take concession to this, but because of not meeting in August and then meeting in the third week of September, we are at a we're busting a schedule here at this point with a 2-month issue of not getting them in for permit. And just keeping them moving forward. Is there any way to send plans, maybe sit down
No.
with some, there's
Sorry.
not?
No,
Okay,
sorry, Julie.
okay,
We're usually amenable, it's our month off, these guys work around us full-time job, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
And can you give us
Gotta ask, yeah, no,
You gotta
that's,
ask.
updated
yeah.
planting plan?
Yeah,
What's that?
An updated planting plan, like what's gonna go in the planters? What does federal already have that will be in the plan?
so anything that's on that is federals.
Right, but
So
it would be
yes,
nice
they-
to see on their perspectives and whatnot, what.
It's sort of,
federal is
it's sort of
going to
beachy
be-
grasses, and I get a spec on that.
No.
But then what's
She's
gonna
saying
happen in the
meld.
winter?
I think that's the bigger
Yeah,
picture.
you're looking for our
It's,
specified plans
yeah,
that
it's
surround
with
their
this.
sphere.
It's melding the
Got
renderings,
it.
yeah, it's the same
Yeah.
with the upper, yeah.
Okay.
That's on us to get to you guys.
And you asked how it relates with the trees, the federal plan? Okay, sorry.
Both of them like that.
I like you guys' logo and signage, I don't know if that's final, but if it is final, can you guys also break that signage plan out as well? Like give us another page that is your signage plan that shows the details of how that sign's made, how it's illuminated, if it's illuminated, and what the size of it is. And as another part to that, you guys talk about a mural, proposed mural that's coming?
It's pretty similar to what's on this, right here.
Okay.
It's what's there.
Okay.
So-
I'm
so-
not in favor for that, that's a board, that might be my own personal preference. That's awesome, I will vote down, that's like right in everyone's face.
So this is the mural?
Yeah,
So it looks like it has dimension. Like there's a shadow around
Yeah, I think
the
it's 10 now
fish
then.
and the
so I didn't know, I thought the signage was not something we don't have a final signage done.
Oh, you don't? Okay, so
No.
that will come at a later time.
Yeah, but is that?
Okay,
is that-
no, I think the more you have ready, the better, let's
Uh-huh.
knock it out, but like, if it's not ready, then don't, I mean, no pressure, but. I mean, the mural thing too, like, that's a special thing that's not in the signage plan, like, any murals have to get approved by us. Yeah, if you have an idea there, what are those materials, what is the size of that, I think that's gonna be pretty huge. It's gonna be.
Would you recommend separating the signage from the exterior? That's a separate review?
Federal does that a lot, yes, you can, it's whatever's, if you feel like it'll
I
go
just wouldn't
faster.
want one to hold up.
It won't,
Okay.
we approve different parts of it all the time.
Got it.
I mean, if the windows were picked right now, we could say, okay, the windows, you're gonna go ahead and order those windows, so like, I don't think we have
Okay.
anything to go with.
Yeah, as we talked about this earlier, signage will go through total different review,
Okay.
approval, it's shop drawings, all of that stuff.
But that makes a difference of what that wall is gonna be though, you got these two giant empty walls, so I'm curious how that's gonna be treated if it's not gonna be in the mural.
It's gonna be
Right?
treated, our plan is to treat it like this.
So why are we calling it a mural? I mean, it's.
Yeah, maybe that's the wrong
Well,
word.
okay, they call it a mural,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I'm saying, they say.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm saying,
Thank you.
Is that okay? Like, that's an additional sign.
It is. No, it's
Are we
not.
approving an additional sign?
We don't see their signage.
No, that's why I was like, come with something that's really gonna be on that wall, I'm not really.
Okay, so this is what's gonna be on that wall now, unless,
The fish and the word seamless.
yeah,
Those two squares.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get through. Maybe someone, is anyone here excited about that? I think you're gonna get a big no on both those.
It's a very prominent location. It's just-
So, let's think about something you could do on those panels. I assume that's the back kitchen there? Something that's.
Bathrooms.
Okay, right, so let's think about something, how you could treat those two very large, those are huge surfaces, and they're like the main thing you see. So that's gonna be two important walls for us.
So also look at the landscape plan, I mean,
It's not, no mural, no, go ahead, sorry.
is there gonna be a big tree in front of all of that anyhow? I mean, if you look at the landscape,
Right.
the federal landscape plan, they do show a tree, I don't know what the species is on it,
On the
It's on
sidewalk.
the west
It's also
elevation.
very up high.
We're only seeing the south elevation.
Yeah, that's gonna be lower.
It's the corner
Yeah.
here
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right, Dave, there's
that,
like
is that
but it's, those trees are
That same-
gonna really.
white and turquoise panel.
No, it wasn't planned on me, it was just gonna be,
Like, is that your part of your facade still, or is that somebody else's?
no, there is a return as part of our facade. It's smaller over there, but there is,
Yeah, I think we need to talk about that corner as a
Yeah.
bigger issue.
It's a-
Like,
yeah.
as a, as a solid of what we'd like to see there, because there are services all back there.
Dave Humphrey, this is it. Humphrey, that's that corner. It's just this dead space that you can walk through and cut through.
Right, so that was, that
Yeah.
will be seen and should be part of this, mural
Oh, yeah.
discussion. I'm open to a mural, that to me just looks like more signage.
Actually, you could have some fun if it was truly a mural. That could add a lot of interest to it.
Something really good.
So
As an artist,
a mural can go in so many different directions.
Right.
So
That's somewhat secondary,
and
your
what
primary.
somebody likes is what somebody hates, and as long as we get the design integrity, we don't like just go 10 different directions. And I'm open-minded to all of what you're saying for sure. And I don't fully understand the difference between a signage and painting the wall, but this to me was more signage, and we
But
call
when
it
it
a mural.
says Seymour's and has the same fish as.
No, I thought it was more signage.
What's that?
I thought it was more signage in my mind.
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was presented, you said it was a mural.
Okay.
And the drawing
So I guess that
said
was-
mural to come, that's why.
Okay.
That's, sorry, so signage,
Mural
just say
Totally.
signage from now on.
Yeah.
Representational.
But if you don't like the signage, then let's just address it, whatever we're going to call it, right? And so,
Yeah.
in terms of the process here, because what I'm focused on here is getting. I heard that we're coming back again in the third week of September, and so a lot doesn't happen. We'll get all this stuff done, but we can't move forward with the town.
By the way, you can send us some stuff in the meantime and talk to Hervé and say, are we on the right track? He knows us pretty well, he knows, so you're not on your island by yourself. You can check in with him and say, are we going the right direction, how about this? He can bring you in, and Hervé can call me, or call, to say if we,
And I'll help.
we won't not talk to you for 8 weeks, okay?
Got it. But on the signage, take the word mural out, and this is signage, and we may come back with something that's different, that we love, that you may not love. Can that be separated from the rest of the approval? So because that's pretty.
Yes.
We're not opening until next, May or June, and so it's like.
But when you come back, you need to show how you're gonna treat these 3 large facades though, because these are huge and they're just these blank spaces that seem to have like this concrete, what was the material? The ethos on them. So I think there's an opportunity for an architectural designations there, something to utilize those spaces.
Oh, totally. No,
Right? So I think you should come with that, ignoring signage, as if no signage was ever gonna be on them. Does that make sense? If they were just empty walls.
Okay, it does. Can that? But that worries me in that we agree on the windows. We give you 3 different versions with mullions, and we pick one that has whatever, and we come back with all the feedback we give, which is good. But we don't agree on that mural because it's
Right.
not. The choices are limitless, unlike the.
That could be a
windows.
condition.
Is that possible? Is that?
It's correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be approved with conditions, that happens.
Okay.
Quite a lot.
I'm just talking about the actual material, the way it's treated. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
So it's.
The background, background of whatever is going to be
Right.
behind the sign or.
Yeah. Ignoring, the sign, we'll put the sign. Even if you can come with the sign, we'll say, okay, maybe you don't like that. Let's still talk about what's on the wall.
materials,
So
all
that's
that.
what we'll say, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I got
Start
that.
getting visionary on what the plan of attack of design is that. But the thing is, Jay, that there are guidelines with the signage that it really can't say Seymour's underneath there because you only.
Well, that's what I was
You
going
have
to,
quantity.
there's limitations on the sign, the amount of
Limitations
sign.
there that we have to play with. Is that
No, I hear. We gotta go in a different direction. I totally get it. Yeah. Okay. I still want to go in a different direction that is on a tangent.
It's cool.
We-
I think generally speaking, it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
We're picking details,
Mhm.
but the whole package has got a good feel.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm excited.
So
Yeah.
I
We're
don't.
excited.
We're not saying redo it completely. Just
Yeah, no, I get that. I just want to redo it in the way that
Yeah.
that's approvable. Yeah. That's all.
You could, again, check in with those designs. If you got stuff along the way, shoot. I think we'd all be happy to look at if you have a mural or signage package. I think we all have fun doing that. I just don't want to review. We're not going to review a full spec sheet in our 2 months off. These guys work really hard. We're not going to have them doing work for the ARB on their finally their month off. But if you got some, we're happy to look at some fun ideas.
Good.
Okay, and we'll approve stuff along the way. If you come here and we see stuff, we'll approve, okay, well, we like the lights, we like the, you know, these windows, and we like this treatment, but we need you guys to go back and do this. We can approve stuff along the way, so we
Yeah.
keep moving. Does that
Perfect.
sound okay? Yeah?
I do have a question. It seems to me there's two packages for, and I'm thinking about Patrick and Julie and Federal and their scheduling, right? And the month of August being off. This is, we're talking about the skin right now. We're talking about all the enclosure, everything having to do with the details on the outside. Are there elements in Federal that you guys can identify that could be approved, and I'm sorry if I go for 2 seconds against what it said earlier.
That's okay.
Could be approved separately because they need to be ordered so far in advance or started so far in advance of the interior fit out. I've been approving a whole bunch of tenant fit out with, when the walls are already built and somebody's just coming and ripping it out and everything. We could just say, okay, the walls are not gonna be part of this approval whatsoever until the ARB approves it. But then the kitchen can be started, other things can be done, or can it not, is that not something that you guys can
I think that's a
work out?
building department question as much.
Well, it starts with me first and then the building department.
Yeah.
If I look at it.
You're basically, I am the building department.
It doesn't go to the building department if I don't say it goes to the building department, because that's part of my role. I have to look at what's being done zoning wise. But zoning wise, this project is all approved in terms of zoning, but the lot seems to me is on the skin right now, but is there any advantage
Yes,
to looking at the
huge.
interior?
If you will give them, if they can continue to move forward with their interior build out as we
Right.
fine tune the skin, it would be gigantic for
So
them.
Liz, are you at all receptive to the idea of considering the skin of this building completely unapproved, not looked at until we get more presentation?
But how does that affect what you were saying before?
And then
The-
work on
the
the
layout-
interior guts of the
layout
building and
and
let
the
them
windows
get going with the mechanical and all that.
It'd be great if I could do that.
Right, following my
I think the positions, the openings are there, it's just what the scale, it's a relationship.
It's like a design build.
Yeah, I think Craig, that's right.
It's
The
phased-
opening.
Yeah, the openings there, it's just.
You've got the
As
dimension.
long as they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you're saying. It's a huge difference to us.
Well,
If we
that's
can-
it.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
if this board agrees that it's the right approach, but I think in terms of the town of Darien, I mean, I will talk obviously with it. Let's just put it as a conceptual proposal right now, which I will bring to my director tomorrow morning and make sure he's in agreement with that and the building department to see if we could get something started in the interior or the guts of the building, and then let you come back in September with a full-blown proposal, and then you have your skin. But at least you can get going with some of the stuff, if that helps.
That helps.
2 months.
It helps a lot.
I
Yes.
think a lot of what we look at is just facade treatment on buildings that are existing and have existing interiors. So
It's huge, Hervé. If they can start with their interior, it's huge. Yeah, we could actually keep on schedule. And it's,
We can keep coming back every month for a while. If we can start inside, it'd be great. That'd be really.
yeah.
If it's feasible in terms of construction phasing and you know, with the architect and the builder, that would maybe just give you a little head start on the September meeting. Thank you.
Also, just from a project perspective too, in getting them ahead the most, just because we want them finished. They're the
Sure. You have a lot.
they're they're the statement, you know.
Yeah.
So that would be huge.
I mean, I'll be very, very vigilant.
I know.
Nothing is
Yes,
getting
I
built.
trust you.
Oh, look, it's on the wall. We can't do anything with that.
No, I totally understand that, but getting the air conditioners ordered, getting the kitchen equipment ordered, you know,
Yeah.
it's monumental for us.
The kitchen's a kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
You're
Yeah,
okay?
I mean,
Good with that?
yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that we discussed, like was just said, that really impacted what we were looking at as of tonight was, you know, location of some of those either
We
real.
won't order any
columns.
windows.
Yeah, the
I got that.
pilasters.
Okay,
There-
sounds
There's
good.
a wall on the inside that is hitting a
Yeah,
pilaster.
if you move ahead and take an initial look at the layout of those pilasters on the exterior and say.
Well, let me just, I know you guys, it's getting late, but there was the column is there, that is an existing column.
Yeah.
That is where the bathroom is, and that has to do with the overall layout.
Yeah.
If this moves 6 feet, it doesn't change, because the windows,
Okay.
we
And how
lay
about
out
the
the
one
windows.
next to it, next to the,
That's also can move.
okay.
All right,
So
so then
potentially,
that frees it
that
up.
whole strip that we were kind of wrestling with a little bit, you can move those things, you can keep going with what you're doing, move those things a little bit in the next month or so,
Exactly.
rearrange those windows and with the window.
Yeah, no, I'd like to come back with 3 or 4 window presentations that I think meet
Right.
what you're saying, that also, that fit within the design that we were trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
September, we'll have a party. Can't wait to see you guys. Super
All right,
fun.
thank you.
Thanks, guys. We're really excited about you guys.
Yeah, we're so excited to be here too.
Okay. All right, guys, we have minutes, but they were just submitted, so we're gonna push them back and approve them in September, okay? And I think that was, any other business? All right, it is 10:02 PM. I'm gonna close this meeting.